I hoped Sadako would be there when I woke up that morning. I hoped this baffling world was just a half-awake dream of mine. So when I awoke, not to a familiar ceiling, but to the one in the Furude main house, I could feel nothing but disappointment. Technically, it's still a familiar ceiling, but, not a comforting one. My mind hazy, I recalled the situation I'd been put into. Thanks to my own carelessness, I'd gotten lost in this strange world. Now I have to go on a scavenger hunt just to figure out how to get Hanyo back here, honestly, yeah. It's gonna be a big thing. Hanyo's power couldn't reach here, so it'll be incredibly difficult to escape. It was like trying to climb up the spider's thread to paradise. The spider's thread was still there. No matter how thin it was, his presence meant there was still a chance. To discover what was blocking Hanyo's power. I didn't even know what it looked like. Let's, for the time being, assume it's another little crystallized ball that, honestly, after all this. The only possible clue is that Hanyo was the deity in Hinamizawa, so it's probably in the village somewhere. Ah, yes. Did you keep this around? Okay, good. I picked up the crystal ball which had snuck out of the ritual implement storehouse. The ball gave up a weak and somehow unnatural light. I pressed it to my forehead, and I could sense a faint presence that only I, as a witch, could feel. A witch? Like you mentioned that a few times before. Why are you suddenly seeing yourself as a witch? I was sure that whatever I need to find, I would get the same feeling from it as this. But again, like the crystal ball, I probably had to hold it to my forehead to sense anything. Didn't seem like things would be as simple as wandering about till I felt something. Not a radar for spiritual powers. Can't do that. But if it was related to Hanya's power like the crystal ball was, it was almost certainly in that storehouse. Okay, so either sneak in again. Okay, this is gonna turn into another heist movie situation already. Unfortunately, the storehouse is a complete mess of everything from ancient torture devices to piles of old documents to mounds of trash I didn't even know how to use. The only place with any semblance of cleanliness was the space around the vessel and the altar. Yay. Finding anything, especially an object as small as this crystal ball, would be no simple matter. Rika! Eat your breakfast and hurry on to school. Okay, Mom. I heard my mother's voice in the kitchen. The school in this world wasn't the one I went to. Well, technically yes, but also at the same time, I'm just wondering, if this is technically taking place, like, literally, we'll just assume, like, both, like, this is literally just, this, like, taking place the same exact day after, like, you got hit by that car, or to just bring you to this alternate dimension all the way back to 2 weeks, like, a week or two before the festival, honestly. I can't remember, honestly. Because yeah, then it means technically speaking, you've been learning the same exact, you're gonna be learning the same exact lessons in school all over again. At this point, why aren't you smart at this point? At least with those, anyway. Gotta be so, like, goddamn mind-numbing, just have the same exact school lectures every time, you can't do anything about it. If I had the time to go somewhere I didn't belong, then I should be using it to search the storehouse. But there was no proof my search would only take 1 or 2 days. I really hate to say it, but since I didn't know what it looked like, maybe I needed to prepare myself for the search to take years. Oh, yay. If I didn't go to school, Chie, ever conscientious, would call the house to see if I was staying home that day. If that happened, it would cause trouble with both the school and my parents. I couldn't imagine how much time this search would take, so it's late going back again to pretending that everything's all right in the world and you don't have any knowledge or any other fragments and histories and all that. Yay. My parents grew suspicious, things would get harder. Slow and steady wins the race, I guess. Turtles. Although it was frustrating, for weekdays it would be better to pretend I was going to school, like normal. I let a languid sigh, got up, and decided to eat breakfast. Decided. During mealtime, my mother's ramblings about how I was never allowed to go into the storehouse again sadly made the food taste worse. My mother was always insistent and long-winded. Oh, yay, rambling. I hope it's not as bad as my ramblings. I hate this part of her. The elders in the village laughed and said she couldn't help it, since she did it for her only beloved daughter, but to me, she was just a nuisance. tough love wasn't what I needed at the moment. The only thing I could be thankful for was, maybe, I didn't have to make breakfast for myself. But I could do my own, so I almost would have rather she left it to me. After I was done eating and started getting ready for school, Mother continued to nag me about making it on time. You gotta run to school now, Rika. Faster, faster. I'll drive you there. Stop it, Mom, please. How aggravating. Well, since you have to like pretend to go to school, honestly, just so you can have time, you're like have some free time to actually search the storehouse or like any other significant place that comes to mind, which I'm still trying to think if there's anything else top of my head would be another good place to search. Then would it be better, like, that goes to a question. I was gonna suggest, like, maybe a sort of way of like, I guess trying to make friends in this world, like, I guess the whole thing of I guess maybe make this Rika's life better? But at the same time, that goes to the question of, you're literally making a difference in this world, and from the sound of it, if, things go right, you swapping right back over to your own original body, and, the original Rika of this world come back to it, and, so to realize, oh shit, what happened when I went to sleep? Or like, or swap over to another world entirely if that's what happened, like a little switcheroo. That means, like, again, the stuff you did here for good, honestly, amount to not, because they have no frame of reference or experience with any of that. And they do everything from all over from square one. I mean, if, like, this Rika is way much more lonely, and, like, actually has tried, or just, like, trying to make friends and has failed, or, like, she just never felt like she was way too shy to actually do anything, it's gonna be quite a lot to adjust to, or, like, make things probably a bit weirder and maybe a bit worse for her if, we change too much of this world, honestly. Oh boy, that's a whole other moral dilemma to think about. My good god. It's like that whole Back to the Future scenario that a Zero Time Dilemma brought up again. God damn it. Guy M. How aggravating. Maybe going to school wasn't so bad. I wanted to see my mother's face for half a day. I thanked her for the food, cleaned my plate and utensils in the sink, and left immediately for school. While we barging all the way down the steps. Well, it looks a bit like it seems like, well, already by this point that I'm at least Rika's like making some rapport with with Rina and and Mion, honestly. Sadako and Satoshi is a bit distant, so I don't know how easy it'd be to go back to that, so. If everything was gonna betray my expectations anyway, I wish class would too. In this world, class went the exact same way as the world I knew. I thought I escaped that world, and now it's repeating. Oh, you literally went back in time instead of continuing the same exact timeline when you got hit by the car. Which, I think thinking about it now, didn't they just start summer vacation? So, yeah, that's probably that. There's probably that too. Thinking that way made me feel even more listless. Normally, I distract myself by teasing Sadako, but her seat was far away from mine. She was probably also bored with class. She didn't know what to do with herself. Satoshi, earnestly studying the next seat over, was constantly trying to get her to focus. Snap. Mion seemed to be butting into Reina's business too. Oh yeah, probably like she's actually just called Reina in this world, honestly, instead, because like the divorce never happened, which gosh dang it, I try to say her name properly too after getting mixed up about it for several times, and I mix up anyway again. God damn it, what does this world come to? They weren't fooling around. It was a strange, though pleasant, sight. They were helping one another learn. Actually, they weren't the only pleasant sight. Everyone in the classroom was like that. I felt like I was the only one left out. I didn't know whether my seat was in its own row because of the odd number of students, or if I'd chosen this seat on purpose in this world. I felt like my seat was separated from the rest of the classroom. When lunchtime came, I felt even more alienated. My classmates formed groups with friends and took out their food. The club members who would always eat with me weren't here. Sadako was a part of a circle of several friends, including her brother. There was no place for me to wedge myself into. Mion and Reina were sitting face to face, they ate. No room for me there either. Nobody asked me if I wanted to eat with them. And they had fun eating their own meals, so this seemed natural, like it was something that happened every day. For a short while, I waited, hoping for Sadako or Mion or Reina to invite me over. As the clocksman had moved 5, then 10 places, I realized I might even be left behind in eating, and finally gave up and opened my bento box. Inside were the leftovers of last night's burned Hamburg steak and white rice with nori seaweed that was now sticky. Spinach wrapped with gooey nori. The remains of kimpira with chopped burdock root also burned. Oh my god, wait, are you saying that's what your mom's cooking, honestly? Oh my god. I guess I forgot about that. Okay, maybe, like, okay, so it's not just the fact that you made your own cooking, so like, because you were bored and Hanya kept teaching you things, and you just want to get better at certain skills and hobbies to pass to them, the depressive, listless time repeating things over and over again, but your mom's cooking is terrible! I guess I forgot about that. For some reason, my mother overcooked everything. Look, here's the thing. Like, there's some foods which taste better when burnt, but I'm pretty sure if everything is, yeah, no. Like, burnt bacon is the best. Like, literally. It's really good. It's so good. But still. Just the sound of it. Just, overcooked seaweed and roots. And steak. My good god. Like, look, still, even, like, steak, it's also good when it's a bit burnt, but if it's, like, horrendously burnt, then why even bother? My good god. Summer's dangerous if you don't let the heat in, was a favorite phrase of hers. She cooked steaks until they were rock hard, and when she made fish, she turned half their insides to ash. Wow. Even Sadako was better than that. At least she knew how hot to cook things. Oh, and when I learned how to cook from Hanya and started to make things better than my mother, she must not have been happy. Yeah. It tasted terrible, too. No presentation, either. Okay, this is literally just going to the whole thing and just getting reminded of the kitchen nightmares thing, but presentation also matters, too. Like, what was it? I remember just, like, one clip of someone making the most, like, was making a cake for one contest, and it was the most lopsided, and, like, there was frosting missing in places. And when Gordon Ramsay, like, came out to eat that person's cake, he took one bite and screamed in frustration, honestly. Not because the cake tasted bad. He said it tasted the best out of everything he's eaten, but he had to disqualify the person because the presentation was horrible, and he was madder about that than anything else. My good god, presentation also matters too. Like, literally, some foods I would probably never try. They look so absolutely horrible. My good god. If Mia decided to have a bento contest and I only had this, I'd end up in last place. But there was no club in this world, so I didn't have to worry about that. Well, you can have the club of, like, going all the way to Mion's house and bursting into her personal business. Don't worry about that. But I guess from the sound of it, unless Reina is gonna, like say something about him, I guess, maybe, like, offering to, like, walk Rika home again for today, or, like, make that a regular thing, then that was probably just a one-and-done only thing, actually. Just to be nice. Sadako's happy laughter not being directed at me made me feel sad. Suddenly our eyes met. Did my feelings get through? No, you were just staring. Sadako burst out of her seat and glared at me. What are you staring at? If you have something to say it. You have nice hair. I don't have anything to say. Stop it, Sadako. You just happened to look at each other, didn't you? Okay. It didn't just happen. It's just a coincidence. She was staring at me this whole time. It was getting gross. Come on. Sadako and her friends began whispering amongst themselves while looking at me. I couldn't hear what they said. I could easily imagine them enjoying themselves. Some of the classmates here actually way much more gossipy than everyone else in the other world. Oh my good god, I can't tell if it's like there's a new people here or the same exact classmates, but oh my good god. Okay then, people are weird and jerks this time. I'm sorry, I won't stare at you. I hope not. You're making my cream crochets taste worse. Wow, I can't believe Rika has that power just from all the way over here. Maybe you should harness that even more, Rika. I angled my desk a little so I couldn't see Sadako and the others. At first, I called this world Sadako cold, but it looked like I was mistaken. This world Sadako either didn't like me or outright hated me. Yeah. Illyrians close to my age seem to have formed a community around her, with no place for me in it, so they all hated me too. The hardened, ash-like steak tasted of salt. Why did I have to feel this sad and lonely when I ate? In all the other worlds, all the club members would be enjoying lunch together. Sadako would be there, and Rena, and Mion, and Keiichi. Everyone would be having fun, and spending their break cheerfully and noisily. Hello. That was when Reina came over and peered at my bento box. No, the burned ash remains, please, no! I don't want to get teased again. Oh, Rika-chan, you have steak and spinach for lunch today? Oh, it looks good! It's clear that Reina had come over to try and comfort my distress, and for some reason that was frustrating, so I don't want to answer her. The whole thing of I don't want your pity. When I stayed silent, she held an octopus-shaped sausage in front of me. I'll trade your spinach for my octopus. Okay. Reina, trying to be nice as I ate lunch alone, hated by my classmates. I just couldn't accept it. Just runs away. I said I wasn't gonna wash my hands, then left. In the bathroom stall, I covered my face with toilet paper and cried. The tears soaked through the paper and crinkled it up, but I didn't care. This is fine. It was better if I didn't have friends in this world. I had plenty of friends in the one I need to return to. There, even Sadako is my irreplaceable best friend. And all the club members who would never leave me alone during lunch hour were waiting for me. Why would it be sad that some Sadako I didn't even know was being mean to me in a world I didn't care about? Because association. Why would it be... But despite the lies I told myself, I couldn't stop crying for a while. Yeah, like, oh my dear god, just how things could have went so differently, honestly. Again, it just, oh good god, it just feels absolutely so goddamn terrible. Every single time when a story can actually showcase how things could be different from just like a simple butterfly effect of one thing happening, and just like two people actually getting close together like friends and all that. Or like something like that happened, but in every other choice, honestly, they never even talk to each other or just outright hate each other still because of one simple thing that could have changed it all. My good god, that gets to me so much. I just had to steal my resolve and wait for school to end. Then run back home, say I was going out to play, and sneak into the ritual implement storehouse again. That was the only way I could get back to my original world. I had to try and do my best for that purpose alone. And just scour through goddamn like mountains of paperwork and I'm torture implement just to figure something out. I swear to God, if literally the other fragment piece is literally just a torture implement, my good God, that's just, oh God. Okay. I looked in the mirror in the bathroom to see a face red from crying. If Chie saw me like this, things would probably get even more complicated. I washed my face, then spent the rest of lunch break quietly in a corner of the classroom. At school, I literally dashed out of the building. It would be a huge pain if I ended up caught in the rush of their classmates they had out to go play. I think Satoshi called after me, but I ignored him. He's probably just trying to apologize for his sister about what happened during lunch. I didn't care about that. Oh, I wonder if this is gonna be a whole thing just oh, it's doing the whole, oh, I wonder if the story is actually focusing that, like, people are actually trying to reach out to her. But again, she's sweating her way both from, whole thing like this is not my real world, and also just I don't even want to get connected to other people right now. I didn't want to stay in this horrible world a second more than I needed to. Just sprints all the way home. I ran full speed back to the house. But my mother, when she asked, as usual, if I had any homework, and searched for a lantern. I told her I was going out to play, and without waiting for a response, burst out of the house. Just imagine it, just you're like supersonic speed racing down from the school, and just zipping in and out. Your mother can't even see you. There's just a purple haze, your hair flowing back and forth. Then I went around the shrine and looked for my father. Gonna scope out the place. I saw a note hanging in the assembly hall that said there was a shrine association meeting. I could hear my father's voice amidst the light-hearted chatter. The same opportunity I had yesterday. Just make sure you don't make a lot of noise, and I just realized did he realize that you got through the window? I'm trying to think of like what to do honestly in case he realized that and decided to barricade it up. Because from the sound of it, I can't tell if like if Sadako in the original world honestly. Well, I say the OG world we've seen most of honestly. But did they fix that window and board it up more or like, do they know that she broke in through the window there? I wonder if, like, literally that's why they only can go through the front door. Today I had to be careful to let on that I was inside. After making sure nobody's looking, I climbed up the tree I got in the hang of yesterday. Oh, is it literally that tree in the left right there? Okay, that's actually kind of sweet. They added a tree just to explain how they got all the way up. If it was a ladder, like, just probably next to it, I'm pretty sure people would be weirded out and probably check it out. Or, like, tell them, your dad about that. So, yeah, thankfully that's there. I have been scared of the height before, but I wasn't afraid any longer. Probably because I cried my eyes out and resolved myself during lunch. Just so you let out all the fear and frustration out immediately. I'm not scared to die. I'm more scared of being stuck here forever. And just immediately climbs up. What I really had to be afraid of wasn't heights, my parents, or the cold, hard Sadako. It was not being able to return to my original world. Next scariest thing, be losing contact with Hanyo, I think. Yeah, definitely, with no absolute contact with anyone close, honestly. Everything, all support group is pretty much all gone. You're completely, utterly lonely then. In entrance to the storehouse, I took the crystal ball in my pocket. Don't tell me you're gonna call her right now. At least look for a bit. Like, at least verify there's nothing else in their room, and then make a call. Because batteries, walkie-talkie, you can't renew with spiritual energy, Magatama style and all that. Unless you can actually think you can do that yourself, but use only the rarest emergencies, please. Its weak glow seemed a little more energetic than yesterday. Please don't take it. Don't. Oh, good God, don't take it, please. Every time the bells like appear, honestly, appeared in like the other installments of Higurashi, I always associate with him the character slipping insanity a tiny bit. That's what I always take it as. Maybe she rested. A little of her power had come back. Nonetheless, it was still weak. If I wasted on for this conversation, the light might go out entirely. Okay, good. I firmly squashed the desire to check and make sure I could still call her and turn the lantern. It was time to go treasure hunting. Yay, you got your hatchet ready to smash through on some wood piles? Was there anything around? Anything only I could feel? Something that felt the same power as a crystal ball. Somewhere. I closed my eyes, honed my senses, and hoped. All I heard were the cries of cicadas. I hadn't expected anything else. It looked like this would be a tough nut to crack. I wonder if, technically speaking, there's like some talisman or something like that. So that's like probably the best thing to think of, honestly, is would be a stark, broad difference between what the storehouse back in the OG world and here, like a new item or anything like that. Like, was the crystal ball like in this same OG world as well? Too optimistic. Searching the entire storehouse. How much time would that take? I don't want to imagine it. I had to do it, or I couldn't go home. Time for a searching montage. I'd do it systematically. Start in the corner and go in order. Okay, makes sense. Just I'm gonna do entire area sweep right there, then I'm gonna clear that off, then put it back where it was, then I'm gonna go to the next area. Good. Without knowing what it looked like, I start in the corner and go from there, not even letting water past. Water? Despite all that, I had no proof it was even in here. I felt like it would be easier to just fight Takano and the Mountain Dogs again. I wonder the next best place to look if it's not in here is like the junkyard, honestly. Especially from the sound of it, the junkyard, honestly, has absolutely no, I guess like no one takes the dump from there, like takes it to Okinami or anything like that. People just leave it there, honestly, littering it. So the next best place would probably be there? Possibly. And she didn't really find it, I guess. And the days go by. Oh, good God. It's day in, day out, just searching the storehouse and nothing else. I don't think it's gonna get any weaker. Wait, what? I can hear your voice about as loudly as I could before. Which means, like always, it'll only get to you weakly. So, like, is there actually just, is there actually a power, like, a power thing to, this two-way radio thing? Or just, you just can barely hear each other's think? Or you just, like, being paranoid you can't talk anymore? Like, hopefully it's that, but I'm not gonna, I would not risk it if I was in this situation. I guess there's no need for us to chat. No, I think chatting is exactly what you need to do right now, Rika. Maybe. Thanks. I'll talk now, then. Well, you're already talking. I'm pretty sure I searched the storehouse as well as I could, but I have nothing. I searched for about a week, but I don't even know what the thing I'm searching for looks like. And if I did find it, I might have to put it down again without realizing. Honestly, this is really hard. If I only knew what it looked like, I had some proof it was in the storehouse. Being locked in here for so long is gonna make me go crazy. Yeah, I understand. I know it's a very difficult search. I know my best too, to see if I can at least find out what the fragment looks like. It's probably even worse than if like Hanya like still like on the other side of the OG world where Rika's dead and like she still talks to like you know, the demon, like I guess the demon clan over there, then maybe they'll get help from that side, possibly. But if it's something, it's always just purely more spiritual, then oh boy. Ugh. And did you find anything out? Rika, in your world, fragments are interpreted as feelings. Feelings? Memories and experiences? When those feelings reside in something, they become fragments. Oh, you're basically just saying that just some, I guess, the sort of sentimentality attached to an object, I guess? But I guess then? So what's then... Wait then, so what's a fragment then that repels gods then? What's a fragment that does that? Is there now suddenly an item in this world that like someone like put all their like hatred of I guess Oyashiro-sama into this world? I can imagine now it's Akano in the last one, but is there even anyone that fits the description here that we know of? It's gonna be hard to figure that out because everyone is a bit different. Oh no. I understand the logic, but that doesn't give me much of a hint. And as for how to return a fragment to this world, I think that it needs to lose its form in that world. Oh, so it really is a destroy. We'll get a sledgehammer. What does that mean? Did it break it? Yes, and completely. Oh, okay. So sledgehammer is not part of the equation. That means we gotta crush into little itty bitty tiny pieces like little grass fragments, and then grind them in mortar and pestle, and then completely and utterly either burn them or just for some reason to feed to someone else. That'll get rid of their form entirely then, right? If it's lost in the human world, you can send it to the world of the gods. Do you know about the law of conservation of matter? Look, I was running back the top. I already knew that was the back of my mind, but I don't think to mean that literally, okay? It's possible to destroy something completely. Well, that's why I'm saying you only need to destroy its form. See, she was being technical about it, Rika. She knows she knows you too well enough. That's why she brought up like that with that phrasing. No need to be a smartass. That's my job. Understand, Rika? Even in ancient times, people used methods like this to send things to the gods. Okay, so they're just saying just like fires and all that. Okay, just put on an offering stove or something like that, and just burn it and turn to ashes. I see. All right. A way ancients set tributes to the gods. A way to get rid of something from the human world. You're telling me to burn it then? Burn to ash and send it to the sky. I mean, how can you send the ash purely into the sky then? Like a cannon shot, or just a blow in the wind? Go to the very top of the mountain? That's right. By burning something to ashes, it loses its form, loses meaning, and vanishes in the human world. I see. So I need to burn whatever is housed in the fragment. I pray that's easy to set on fire. It's probably going to be something like leather, honestly. That's going to be the worst thing imaginable then. Leather is the worst possible thing to burn. No, you can't even, it doesn't even burn at all. I'm pretty sure the leather that does burn is not even real leather, so hopefully it's not that. If it was a boulder, I'd have to throw it into a blast furnace or something. Actually, Rika? Fragment might not only be an object, it possibly could be in a person too. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh no! Why did you suggest that? That means that Rika has to kill someone then. Oh my god! Oh good god, wait. Oh good god, that's actually terrifying if I consider that. Oh no! To go back to your original world, you have to offer offer someone's body because your original body was also killed. Oh no! It's equal trading. Oh god! Oh no! Oh no! Rika, it's your time to kill someone and burn them. Oh no! Oh god! I see. Because the fragments are feelings. They might not only reside in objects. But, Hanyo, if it was a person, what would I do? You're not telling me to burn them to ash, I'm sure. Right? Well, the meaning of a human disappears the moment they lose their life. See? Wow, look at that! I immediately caught on so quickly. That would make sense. Corpses aren't people anymore. Yeah, like I've seen a few other stories mentioned out of one character basically brings up their like how horrified it was to try to make the comparison to when someone like dies, they're not really a person anymore. They're now just become things, just objects. That was actually that stuck with me. Corpses aren't people anymore, so the fragment is residing in a person. It's inside their organs. You need to do surgery on them. Man, if only if Irie was here, he would do this lickety-split. Especially if it was in the brain. Lobotomy time. I believe until now I've been searching for an object, but maybe it doesn't even have to be that. So, hopefully it's someone who's in this town, then. I had no problem burning an object, but if it wasn't an object but a person, that's gonna go into a whole other thing of if you want to get back to your own world, but also at the same time don't ruin, I guess, this Rika's life in this world, you literally have to just commit a perfect murder then as well, all over again, and it's gonna be the same exact thing. So it's either you just had to hope that the fragment is just an object and not a person, or either just if you don't want to commit murder, accept that this is your new life here. Like, my good god. Like, this is actually going to a lot of different things. Okay, well, if it's in a person, then I'm more curious of how the story is actually going to rectify this. Because if it's in a person, then either there's another way where we can get back to the OG world, or literally she has to do that. But I guess it could be just like the whole thing of like everyone else like has to like, it's almost like Sadako did with getting L5 and like killing her parents, honestly, and either she forgotten about it, like forgotten she killed her parents, and then repressed it down, or like her mind repressed it, or she remembered it, but by this point she knows she can never bring it to anyone if she want to have any semblance of a normal life. And she knew if it was her fault or not. It was like, her mental state that was wrong, or anything like that. And like, wasn't there a line in the, I guess in the 6th installment where Rika like pointed out that like Sadako had a sin as well? I think at first I thought it was really just because of her believing that like her relying on Satoshi actually was the sin there, but if it was that, then oh my dear god then. Oh my dear god then. Oh god. This is a horrible situation all entirely then. I don't like this. This world. some reason, only the bad ideas turn out to be true. I can only pray it doesn't turn out like that. If only bad ideas turn out to be true, then I could take advantage of that. If there's search there first. Yeah, that's the next thing. How can you ensure there's a fragment inside a person, though? Or, like, attached to someone? How can you verify that? What, do you just decide to go full-on, Rika, slowly the witch, lonely witch, inside the school, and just, holy divine crystal ball, and just touch this to every single person's head, honestly, in the school, and then just do that to other adults, honestly, playing at the act of, I guess, you being weird, honestly, if you do anything else. That's gonna be a whole other thing, how to figure that out. If it was a person, they'd be closely connected to Oyashiro-sama, right? I don't even know if that's even the only criteria, then. Oh, good god, it could also have to be you killing your dad. Oh, no. Oh, no. Yes, most likely. Is it possible it's me? No, it isn't. If you were the fragment rejecting me, you wouldn't be able to talk to me right now. Well, glad to know that the fragment literally has a little transmission, like, jammer signal then, apparently. Wait, doesn't technically just means that you could just go, well, if this guiding crystal ball does not have, like, a battery power system, honestly, no mystical power system, no, drain itself, then, the easy way would probably be to, try to talk, honestly, with the crystal ball and you, Hanyo, around people and see him, when you're not allowed to talk to them, and that would narrow things down. Which means, next is my father, head priest of the Fruity Shrine, my mother, carrier of the Fruity lineage. Again, your dad probably had to learn all about being a head priest, honestly, by burying your mom. That's gotta be quite something. If it was one of them, I just had to kill them, right? My human morality refused the idea of killing my parents. But that was nothing a world-crossing witch need to think about. Oh, is that why you've been, like, going full-on talking about imagining yourself as a witch? Oh, good god, that's actually probably something something else to contend with if she actually has to kill someone to move along. Wow. Huh. Wow. I'm now curious how they're gonna do this, especially with the more... Like, Higurashi has the whole anti-violence method, but if the story is fully focused on addressing this, and, like, maybe having a sort of situation where someone has to do violence, has to live with it, I wonder how they exactly do that. I think, like, what was it, like, I guess they kind of addressed that a tiny bit with Sadako, I guess, a tiny bit, but that was with the whole entire thing of him, the virus and disease of Hinamizawa syndrome, like, overlooking her. How would you handle with someone who has to be fully cognizant they actually did this on their own belief? Like, not even just through a haze of, like, like you got mad at someone, like you didn't attack them, like how it seemed to be with Keiichi, attacking Teppei, honestly. Like, after so much happened, like, he got into a blind rage and decided to do all that. Well, that's a tiny bit different. But just knowing and premeditating and doing that act, and having to live with that. Wow. For someone with a true world somewhere else, this was a false world. For you anyway, but this is someone else's world. Meaning it was the same as a dream. That's dangerous thinking. Murdering someone in a dream is no different from doing it in a delusion or a daydream. Okay, we're going down a slippery slope there. Please stop. There was nothing to consider about committing the sin in this world. Please don't tell me this is your way to justify it, honestly. Hanya was making sad noises, so I told her how I felt. Stop being such a hypocrite. Would you rather give up on returning to our original world? You're a coward. Okay. You're gonna force me to dirty my hands while never dirtying yours. Convenient, isn't it? If you can blame it all on one person, nobody else would be marked with sin. I'm the perfect human sacrifice. Okay. This is probably going to a lot of different nuance in different places, honestly. Because there's also the whole fact of him, oh good god. It goes into the whole entire topic of him, Rika going through so many different unfair things in the world, and like, she was trying her absolute best for centuries, like at the very least, just 1 century at the very least, like trying to keep out of it and not incite any kind of violence. And if she ever did, like for example, like in Shion's case in Miyakashi, it was always to help or in self-defense. And now that another impossible thing comes to pass, I wonder. Oh god, the story to explore that is it. Someone who's been bad in their luck for a while, then when something new comes along, where after so many different hardships, feels they needed have to like go down slippery slope and doing horrible shit as they goes along, because there's nothing else that they think would actually help in any case. Oh good god. I felt those words were a little harsh on Hanyo. Yeah, a bit. For a short while, she remained silent, not saying anything. But her breathing made it sound like she wanted to say something, but was hesitating. I want to go back to the final world. Rena said this once. I wonder how we're allowed to struggle in order to be happy. I didn't think there was a limit to that effort. But Keiichi changed that. There's no limit to effort. But you have to talk to a lot of people to get their advice on whether your efforts are misplaced or not. Yeah, it's a good opinions and all that. That's why I was talking about it with Hanyo. The one who shared my current situation. Yeah. Like, it helps to have, like, someone talk, like, I guess, what's the best option to do. And there's always, there's probably those rare exceptions where the times you actually try to talk to other people, honestly, they don't want to hear it. Or, like, they're gonna take it badly, no matter how you put it. So, then what can you do? And Hanyo said that if the object possessing the fragment was a person, I had to kill them. I won't avoid that, of course, if there were any other way. But she said that was the only way. I didn't want to hesitate. Yeah, probably after all this time, I don't really entirely blame you, but I'm just trying to think of a way of how to also like, well, you can't even choose who the fragmented person is. So at this point, all you can do is hope it's not someone who is, I guess, abhorrent in this world, which is another horrible thing to think about. Just trying to think of, I guess, a value of human life, honestly. That was all. I want to go back too. Yeah, me too. I'll be praying. That fragment isn't held by a person. Can we do a ritual so it transfers ownership to someone else? Like, you literally just knock the person unconscious and just do a ritual to transfer it over to, some more of this object? Could that work too, please? Please, do. I will too. And I apologize. That's too hard on you. All you can do is look for clues and keep my spirits up so I don't get discouraged. I don't understand how annoying it must be not to be able to look for the key yourself. This is as hard as it is for you, Rika. Nothing I can do is at least be here to care for you, so your heart doesn't tire out. Yeah, thanks. These little chats with you are the most enjoyable things about this world so far. It's like I wake up from a nightmare for a few minutes. I see. I sort of understood why she said chatting can be important. Yeah. It's like, if you actually, like, can talk to someone who actually wants to listen, then yes, that'd be so refreshing. It'll get you out of, like, sick mind states, honestly. Like, way faster, like, good god. Hanyo was the only one I could talk to from my original world. If I lose contact with Hanyo, maybe my very connection to that world would weaken, and memories would blur. I mean, Hanyo, you could also talk to him and relay this information to him about that world's, Demon Club and ask there for advice. Extra voices wouldn't help hurt, you know? You could, like, they could help as well, you know? And that would simply give birth to a miserable, broken-hearted girl, living delusion that this world wasn't the one she belonged in. Lead to me. Astro will go back there together. You keep looking around for any clues you can find. If there are any developments in my end, I'll contact you again. I understand. Rika, hold together, please. Go for it! Yay! Remember? You said it wrong. It's Napa, yay! Hoshi. Yay. I couldn't hear Hanyo anymore. The crystal's ball's light had grown weaker than ever. But long as it had its otherworldly glow, then I could keep believing this wasn't the world I was supposed to live in. Before, I might have shed a tear or two by now. All the tears I could cry had dried up. I gripped the crystal ball tightly, savoring the cheer Hanyo had given me. Do your best. Go for it. Yay. I moved over to the spot with a pile of old documents. If I could interview with Hanyo, it had to be related to the legends of Yushiro-sama. So maybe, I thought, a clue would be written in one of the documents in that pile. You probably didn't look through it because you're looking for something, I guess, bigger, but yeah. Maybe even if the thing I searched for wasn't in here, I could find a clue to it instead. Okay. I thought you dropped them for a second, my good god. I took a few documents from the pile and packed them into the knapsack I brought with me. Good thinking. I could read some, but I couldn't understand any of the others. Like, different language, or just like too dim light, who knows. If something important was in one of the indecipherable ones, I would have no way of knowing. But I shouldn't think about that right now. Just covertly go to your dad and say, hey dad, what does this paper say? And like, where the fuck did you get that? Nowhere. That or just like try to learn a whole like a whole dead language on your own just to figure it out years later in the line. Which I guess in a sense of if like years pass and you still manage to get back into your own original, I guess, world, honestly. Oh god, that goes to the whole thing if the years have passed, and then when you come back to I guess your old, I guess, you know, body when you're around 10 years old, then oh good god, oh no. I pulled the few documents I could read and decided to read them in secret at school and in bed. It's like late night reading. As I went in and out of the storehouse, the chance of my parents finding out increased. In that sense, this would lower that risk, which made it a little easier for me. Maybe parents didn't understand their children best, and would be the first ones to help them, but that was when they were normal, and not a witch like me. If the daughter started babbling about not being from this world, they probably tired down some noisy ambulance. Yeah, this is almost the exact kind of similar like logic that even Keiichi like brought up in the first Onikakushi chapter, which honestly, with what we know again of the BB guns and things, oh good god, that makes it even worse. And the fact that oh good god, and the fact that I've seen many people bring up, and even I brought up that his parents are weirdly distant. Even when he brought up the whole thing of hey mom, dad, if I die, can you check behind the wall clock, like in case I ever die? Like, just put my coffin, please. I worked so hard in a workshop class. I would like to be buried with it. And they just like they didn't sit down. They're just like weirdly just like, wait, what? But then just let them be. Like, my good god. Especially if they're having the BB gun incident, I would probably be a bit worried too, honestly. But my good god. And if what little we know about Rika's parents here, oh good god, if like her mom was not like I guess that overly, I guess, you know, like abusive, like how it was when she displayed some abnormal qualities, it would probably be the best person to talk to. But if you bring it to dad, yeah, the whole thing with the storehouse, we already know his thoughts about it entirely, so god damn it, it's all going back down to there's actual good reason to justify, I guess, being isolated here. Oh good god. Oh no. Oh good god. If their daughter started babbling about not being from this world, they'd probably tie her down some in a noisy ambulance. If I were a little more cunning, I could find my parents and put the work in to make this world a little more bearable. And the more I thought about this world not being the one I lived in, the more apathetic I felt towards interacting with those who were here. Yeah, this is gonna be another time thing about isolation. Man. Like, what was it? Oh, I'm trying to remember, like the writer for, like Rikishi is, like, also, like, really good at, like, writing the sense of it, just some, I guess, rejecting and repelling, and just, their people just becoming more isolated, just lonely. Like, even like when going through like other games, just the writer of that like is so good at writing just the pure feeling of loneliness. Even when, like, the main character just, oh, good god. Even the main character had some friends, honestly. Like, the pros still made it seem like he was definitely lonely. Even though, just, oh, good god, even though he doesn't mention it clearly, that he does feel it. Oh, good god, oh, good god. And that's probably why it seemed like I was being more and more isolated in class. Of course, maybe you could say that was my own fault. Partially, technically speaking, yes. It's kind of half and half with how the rest of the class treats you. Maybe not Reina and Satoshi and Mia in this case, but probably definitely everyone else, yes. Let me know of anyway. That was the kind of world that this was the moment I arrived. I won't dare let anyone else say this is my fault. Of course, not a single person can tell the difference between Rika Furude and me anyway. Unless you start talking like completely out of character from what everyone else knows that this role's Rika, which that's gonna be a whole other can of worms, so ooh. So it's either you actually take a risk and try to make, I guess, new connections here instead when everyone's like, lit a completely different life than you're used to, and get something new out of it, or go back to being lonely. Just good god. Who is me? The me that isn't Rika Furude. Who is she? I mean, you could also just lump through and go across to like around, your own quote unquote your room just to see how she is. If like she's the same as you, which probably be even worse, honestly, if like she's literally just the same person as you, and the only thing that's different is just the damn product was, accepted by the town and nothing else. And everyone acts just the same as they did. This is like the natural progression of how everyone would have acted to the damn product. Like, couldn't be stopped in any sense. That's sad. I came around to a quiet electronic beep. I looked at my watch and noticed it was already evening. Being here made me lose track of time. The other day I was way past curfew, and scolded for a long time. The alarm on my watch was to prevent that. That's a good thing you gotta watch it to actually know what the time is. God damn it. God damn it. My stupid jokes won't be able to work on you. Time for you to fucking get a watch, Rika. Let my relationship with my parents grow any worse and make everything else more troublesome. I should call it quits for today. With proudest motions, I climbed the bundle of chains and headed through the eggs in the roof. Make sure you don't get caught. When I returned to the main house, surrounded by the cries the Higurashi had grown completely tired of, there was a tightly packed case of beer near the front door, and 3 bottles of wine. The beer case was probably for a drinking party at the shrine's assembly hall for something. My father didn't drink beer because he liked it, so I knew it had to be for the assembly hall. They delivered here for the party so he could chill before in the assembly hall refrigerator. So it was the wine your mom's? Hopefully she's not alcoholic. And the wine probably belonged to my father. Okay. My father enjoys Western spirits, and wine most of all. And wine at the time was something I enjoyed as well. Before, after my parents died in 1981, I had gotten wine by bringing it from the main house, but my parents were alive in this world, so I couldn't do that. Your parents had a whole stockpile of it. Okay, that makes way much more sense. You just snuck it from the cellar of the main house, honestly. Okay. I stared at the bottles longingly as I tried to open the door, receiving the clack of its lack in response. Okay, I actually kind of like that carpet with the squares intersecting. I immediately just saying that. I like that carpet. I took a key from my pocket, unlocked the door, went in, and saw a note addressed to me right upon entering. It was my mother. Me and your father are going out into the town in Okinawa and Tokyo. You're gonna be left alone for a while, and now something bad is gonna happen again. God damn it. Still just get major flashbacks to every single fucking time Keiichi's parents just leave right when something horrible is happening. The worst timing in the world. The worst coincidence of all. It was my mother. Notes that an accident had suddenly occurred at the Kimiyoshi house, and they go out to help with a memorial service. Immediately coming back, and so on and so forth. Oh, does something bad happen to I guess the mayor? Written as a postscript was a notice that the brewer would be bringing alcohol, and take it inside the front door once I got back for them. I see. I must be referring to all of this. Are you gonna sample some? If the person had come while I was here, I could have told him to put it inside, but I couldn't bear to see him outside like this, so put it here before I got back. It would be pain if my mother started rambling about me being inconsiderate later. Wow. I made a sour face, not caring who saw, and pulled a case of beer through the front door. Mine now. God. Next, I stood before the wine bottles and solidified my thoughts. Mine! Couldn't there have been a slip up with the order? It was a brewery in a small village. My father called to say he ordered one more bottle. They'd probably bring over another one without a second thought. So what would matter if one of these disappeared? I always dilute it before drinking anyway, so I'll be able to enjoy one bottle of wine for a pretty long time. Despite being the entrance, I belatedly looked around, grabbed a bottle, ran into my room, and pushed it into the winter futon in my closet that I wouldn't use for a while. Actually, my parents live here too, so I won't have many chances to drink. Oh my good god. Oh my good god. Time to get belligerently drunk now. Good god. I ran to the kitchen, grabbed a glass, ice, a corkscrew, a carton of orange juice, then ran back to my room. I can now immediately just, the crystal ball that's in your pocket starts glowing rapidly, just saying, "Hi! Just, Rika, stop drinking right now, please! I can already sense it! Stop!" That's what charges it up. That's what charges it up. My good god. I put this corkscrew in the wine bottle, and was overwhelmed by the urge to wet my tongue with a nostalgic flavor as soon as I could. How was I supposed to survive in this world without enjoying a good wine? I mean, something else besides this, something else a bit less addicting? I poured some into the glass, and just listened to the other orange juice splashing in to fill it up, made my mouth water like a dog. If I diluted this much, it'll look just like orange juice from the outside. What kind of wine is it? White wine? But it was the nostalgic flavor that belonged to my world. At one time, this had been the flavor of my tears of defeat, shed for the unbreakable June 1983. But now, even those tears of defeat felt sweet and tender. Are you just now going to associate wine from, failure now when you go back to your OG world? Those dead-end worlds were very painful, but I was still surrounded by my kind friends. I had the leeway to choose to surrender to Kano and continue lazily living in that infinite loop. But even that warmth was absent in this world. This made a week now since I came here. With no prospects of returning to my previous world, I resolved myself to staying here for a long time. But a week in, it had already driven me to drink. I'll be fine. Those worlds had driven me to the same state before. And I still managed, lazily doing my best as I soaked in wine. Right? Just don't drink too much. I need to be released from this Rika Ferde quickly. This is not my true body, claws at skin again, god. Nobody in this world would understand that, if I explained it. That meant I had no allies here. If I told someone, they'd think I'd gone crazy. Yeah, sadly. But considering this world's Rika Ferde, that was only natural. Yeah, everyone else associates you as the quiet kid, so that, everyone just, immediately just make blames just you're just asking, calling for attention in any way you could. Yay. This world's Rika Ferde was a dour girl without a single friend. And one day, she was hit by a ball in the schoolyard and started saying she didn't belong in this world. Oh, good god. It just made her go crazy, that singular bonk. It's all Sadako's fault. Yay. If that big doctor, Yamamoto, heard about this, he'd probably make a huge fuss about the impact of having caused brain damage. How fitting it is for immediately to be launched in this world and you wake up unceremoniously from being hit by a ball. If it was anything else, people would be like, "What the fuck happened to you? Did you get a midlife crisis when you're already 10? What?" But that would make the most sense to people who live here. Yeah, it's another horrible thing to think about. Where, oh good god. There's not even a whole thing to talk to people about this, honestly. I remember making that same exact thing before about it's the whole point of if you know you're in an infinite loop, honestly, you can just like tell some of your friends or like some people talk about it and figure things out from there, or just try to like do the same thing how you did in chapter 8 with the whole comic book idea, but with this. But the only thing that predicates that is someone close to you would actually listen to you and actually would, you know, be a support network. But here, there's nothing, no one, and even then, like, there's people just loosely close to you. Yeah, it goes the whole thing again. If you say the entire truth anyway out to, like, your probably close friends, honestly, it probably wouldn't, I guess, fully believe it at first, unless there was the whole thing if, like, there's a lot of different things which prove it unequivocally. Or, like, again, like the time loop stuff, and people slowly remember it, like, have an inkling that maybe my gut instinct is saying yes, or they have a sort of, like, something flickering in the back of their mind remembering it. That'll make the most sense to people who live here. At the very least, until I arrived, Rika Furude was Rika Furude, the correct being for this world. Maybe it was more appropriate to say that one day, I, someone different from this world's Rika, appeared and took over Rika's body. Which now reminds me of please don't tell me that I'm taking over this person's body, literally just the exact one-to-one Staroo. Because, oh good god, that's terrible to think about. That's terrible to think about right now. Right. Am I not Rika Furude? Not for this world, honestly. I mean, it's kind of the same thing with just thinking about any other type of cloning situation. Like, what was it? I remember thinking about this a while ago, where I remember reading a Goosebumps book, a Goosebumps 2000 book called I Am Your Evil Twin. And honestly, the ending for that book honestly unnerved me from all that. Remember, I got so fixated on that tiny bit that I even came up with a whole system to prove that I was the real, I guess, Mitz, honestly, in case in any twins show up. It all just boils down to scars, anything that happens on your body, honestly. Like, literally just that, or just, like, wounds or scabs that didn't heal properly. Because I'm pretty sure that no exact clones, like, pure just genetics and all of that, can replicate that. Unless someone creepily already knew that and did all that in your sleep and did all that perfectly. Like a perfect scanner, honestly. Which by then that just goes back to the whole point of you can't really tell who it is because they have your same memories, your same experiences, and everything all over again. But this is different. You have centuries of memories and experiences. You're not really this Rika. You're your own person. It's literally just the same exact thing, and just, like how each and every single individual world is like, its own important, unique thing. But you just gotta figure out, I guess, find the people that you can share those experiences with. Then, because then you start thinking about when what's the best world to be in, honestly. Then that goes to whole another thing about taking over places because you want a better life and everyone else you think is lesser than you. Which is, oh my good god, there's so many different things to think about there, which, oh good god, that's a lot to explore right now, but oh my god, that's probably why you're thinking about it so heavily. So heavily, my good god. That's a lot to even think about right now, again. The value of human life. Well, no, not exactly. This world's Rika Furude was this world's Rika Furude. Different being than me. I simply been interpreting her as being the same as me, even when I was in different worlds, until now. I mean, from the sound of it, actually, that makes it. Oh, that's the difference here, actually, because from the sounds of it, then, literally, from you actually, probably the very first world is how you normally act, and when you took over another body, from so many years ago, maybe from birth, actually, you just became a different person and slowly just remember your past life. Everything's the same, but you have more knowledge and you add things to that. And then when Hanya's power grew lesser and lesser, literally the things you did on your first few, I guess, loops actually still carried over. You trying to asking for help from an outsider, Akasaka, and that carried all the way over into the very last world where you couldn't even touch that possibility ever again. So, like, all the experiences are still yours. Like, they're definitely it. Like, after the first loop, imagine, you, like, knew all this was gonna happen in the second loop, too, and you managed to make, you know, entire, like, you know, new experience, honestly, yourself, and, like, interaction and relationships with other people, but with this, you're, like, halfway to someone else's life. It's not exactly even the same. When I thought about that, leaving aside whether I'd been living happily, I felt like I'd done something bad to this world's Rika Furude. Of course, it was too late to apologize now. I couldn't give this body back to her anymore. That's another thing. I wonder if, like, you leave this body, like, it'd be, like, dropping, like, this world's Rika Furude to be dropping dead then out of nowhere, and oh, good god. If there was a way to apologize, it would be to acknowledge this world's Rika Furude as being of her own. But because if I call myself Rika Furude, the girl who already existed would vanish in this life. So the only way to apologize was to not call myself Rika Furude. I mean, it's still you. Unless you want to call your, like, make it easier, honestly, to humanize, I guess, this original you of this world and you from so many other worlds, then, Well, that had been bothering me for a long time. I've long felt that my young self, pampered as the reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama, my old self, had awakened and traveled across countless worlds to different personalities. But if I thought of them not as personalities, but different beings entirely, right now I was no longer Rika Furude. That's the same exact thing to think about when you think back to when you were a kid, and I get a different personality then. That's literally what everyone has to face, honestly, at some point. Like, even the whole thing of when you turn 18 or 21, like, at least to me, and I think I've seen a few people mention this before, that when you turn that age, then so many kids, like, think, I want to become 18, do all this cool stuff! But then when you get to the point, it doesn't feel like you're an adult. It just feels exactly the same. It's just a slow, gradual change over time where you just learn new things, honestly, and you think about it, like, way back in the past, there's massive, you can think of, like, massive changes, but in the moment by moment, you just slowly change over time. I don't exactly think it's, like, that kind of comparable, though. Who am I? I stared vacantly at the wine bottle. Did I like this brand? Or are you conditioned to actually like it? My father always loved to drink this wine. As a result, I borrowed it from in countless worlds, and I let drink it even now. I mean, right now, I couldn't even be lazy without borrowing the power of alcohol. And this wine comforted me, just a little. At this point, I couldn't go on living without this wine. In other words, I wasn't alive, but the wine was. Which meant that I wasn't Rika Furude and that I was the wine. I can't tell if you're actually slowly dissociating yourself and becoming even more isolated from your own sense of identity, or you're really just trying to be poetic. I'm gonna hope it's the latter. I stared at the Western letters, the brand name written on the wine label, which I didn't even know how to pronounce. I thought to myself that it was the name of me. My name is Rika Furude. No, not that, but this Burn Castell. I don't know what that means. Maybe ask my father. My good god. Frederica Burn Castell. Whatever. What a silly name that is. Okay. My thoughts being a slur and muddle. Cheers, this shithole of a world. Nice poetry, which oddly relates to Rika. Several different times. Even words in Rika said, like, the sixth installment were words taken from the exact same, poem. Yeah. 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 Thank you for making me food all the time. Oh my god, you're gonna do the whole thing of but mom, I'm gonna now make my own food. I'll make my own broccoli, make my own squash, I'll make a better hamburger steak than you. And just the parents are looking there like, are you fucking insulting your mother like that? And even and even when like Rika like literally just can prove she can make better food, honestly, it'll still sound like a goddamn insult no matter how you put it. My good god. That's all. Oh good god. Is the mom like a bit narcissistic also because of that? Or just like feels that whole thing of insulted because of that. Oh good god. That's another oh good god, okay. Napa Hoshi. What's this all of a sudden? You don't compliment me! Who are you? Well, this day was a long time ago. I thanked my mother and pat her shoulders. I brushed her head. It was all a show, of course. If she had the same power inside her as Hanyo, then by touching her like this, I'd be able to sense it. If it was feeble. Oh my god, we're now characterizing head pats, honestly. Which, again, I'm still, like... I can still understand and see why that the entire, like, first, like, his opening preamble for Onikakushi was meant to be just Keiichi, like, talking about, you know, Rena and, Mian, like, killing them, but also the fact of, I don't, like, besides him, like, patting Sadako's head in the third installment, I don't remember he ever actually did pat everyone's head, and because of that, I latched onto, Rika, and then I'm doing that to Sadako, and just thinking like either like Rika kills Sadako or Sadako kills Rika, honestly, for a while. And oh, and I remember this. I'll probably I want to bring this up before I forget about it. I actually do love again because I've even seen him Bob Vids bring it up like one of the discussion videos, but I forgot to mention it in my own sense. The whole thought again that I do love that the series like slowly morphs from one perspective to another. Like from someone who's less experienced and like a complete outsider like Keiichi. Like we're inhabiting his shoes, like to inhabit the whole fish in a water situation, and that works well for the early messages of the story. And then when it goes to slowly to Rika's point of view, it just goes to someone who has a bit more experience, slowly but surely, like Akasaka, who's like a detective, but also still an outsider, still an experience even in his own job. Then Shion, who is while an outsider still has a bit more knowledge of what's happened so far. And then finally to Rena in like the sixth installment and all and forward, and then to Rika. It's actually kind of a nice little escalation of having characters who like as the hierarchy goes, the level goes up, then they know a tiny bit more than the last protagonist. Honestly, it's quite nice. It's kind of nice, honestly. And hmm, hmm, yeah, it's still kind of cool. I was gonna go into another ramble, but because I remember something else, but that has nothing to do with this here. I don't want to bring this up right now. It was all a show, of course. If she had the same power inside her as Hanyo, then by touching her like this, I'd be able to sense it, even if it was feeble. If I did feel that power from my mother, could I kill her in the spot? With your dad right there? I think he'd overpower you before he can burn her. So, yeah, don't. I'm literally saying this pragmatically and practically, too. So, stop. I wouldn't hesitate to kill, but I couldn't say I wouldn't hesitate right here and now. Because I would rather she not have the power inside her. At the same time, I was uneasy about what to do next that she didn't. My mother latched like a tickled, but contrary to what she thought, I was carefully checking if I need to kill her. Yay! Oh, that makes it even worse, honestly, when if people find out that Rika did have to kill someone in this world. Because I'm the quiet kid who like was absolutely harmless suddenly killed someone for no fucking reason. Thank you, you made your point. So please, get off. I thought I said piss off for a second there. I was like, whoa, okay. Tickles. My mother told me that was enough, smiling in a way that was not as dissatisfied as her words implied. You're being so scrupulous about touching her. I didn't feel any trace of that power. My mother wasn't the one who held the fragment. And I already felt my father's head. Wasn't him either. So if we're still going to theming that it had to be someone close to Yushiro-sama in some capacity, then oh good god, do we have to like do the same exact thing to yeah, like even to the other heads of the family as well, like the three families. Time to the pat Oreo's head and Kimiyoshi's head. Yay. Time to kill some old people then too. Oh good god. Be even worse actually if it's an object inside one of their houses actually because like scour around like, and just go and just, like, touch everything in their house, honestly, and steal it. So, oh boy. If it wasn't either two people closest to the legend of Oyashiro-sama, then it was most improbable that the fragment wasn't a person. Or if it is, then it's something we don't expect, but let's not think about that too much. It was a happy thing, not having to kill anyone, probably, but that meant one of my clues is now meaningless. That said, even though the possibility was unlikely, I'd still touch the heads of the other people in the village every chance I got, just to make sure. At the same time, I had to continue my deciphering the pile of documents in the ritual implement storehouse. Whichever I was supposed to choose, the labor of reading through the entire mountain of the sin of killing someone, I was gonna need much more than a little time. Yeah, both planning and mental fortitude. Studying and all that. Take a sip. Hydration. I had lost track of how many mornings it had been since I drifted to this world. And this morning was frustratingly the same as the last world, though I knew. They said that next Sunday was the Nagashi Festival. Literally 2 weeks before the festival happens! Oh my good god! Oh my good golly gosh, god fuck. This was the first time I didn't care whatsoever about it. For Hinamizawa, facing total eviction by next year, this would be their very last festival. And actually, would you still be the one during the seat? Well, would it technically be your... I'm actually curious now, would it be your mother's job? Because, like, you were, like, you know, the only, like, last surviving furry family member? Would it go to your dad or your mom to do the, like, it's the ritual on the stage, actually? Or is it still you in the practice still? So, huh. They were apparently planning to put on a magnificent show to end things with. My normal world responsibility of performing a dedication dance to the last survivor of the Freddy family didn't exist in this world either. Okay. Still, I wasn't expected to simply go off and have fun. They would have me help with things that kids could help with, like giving out boiled rice and answering the phone. Why would a kid need to, like, answer the phone, especially your age? What? I could sort of get the handing out food part, but phones? What? I had gotten used to going to school alone, too. When I went to school with Sadako, it was always a lively morning, with its running and falling everywhere. But that too is going to feel like a memory of the distant past. With several days already behind me, my mind settled, I had stopped crying about small memories like that. Everything I did was for the sake of returning to my original world. My curse trouble was taking, but I would never cry again. So even when I met Sadako at the school gate and said good morning, only to be bluntly ignored like always, it didn't make me sad. The real Sadako was an incomparable friend of mine. Even if fake Sadako ignored me, it wouldn't hurt me inside anymore. You're not the real Sadako! I had no qualms like killing you! Oh, good god. Mian wasn't outright cold like Sadako was, but she didn't seem to think of me as any more than any one of her many classmates. Rainy seemed like she was actually trying to talk to me. That was because I was isolated. She was acting out kind of pity. It seemed sadder to accept that. I started reacting nastily to Reina's unwanted attention. After just a few exchanges like that, she realized I didn't want her doing this and stopped bothering me. Being all alone wasn't sad anymore. It was only natural I'd be alone as an outsider to this false world. In fact, the less annoying acquaintances I needed, the easier it was for me. I mean, I guess it'll make things easier for you? It's a weird thing to compare that the whole thing of I don't need to be connected to this world because I'm gonna go somewhere better than in a bit if I play my cards right. That's It was easier for me. That's right. Easier. Okay. Oh, the rain's kicking in. When I started feeling that way, then even if nobody talked to me during lunch, nobody invited me to eat with them, and nobody asked me to play at their school, I was totally okay with it. With so few students in the classroom, if I took out a book not related to the class, Chie would confiscate it right away. Okay. I probably wouldn't be able to read the old documents while she was teaching. So all I could do was write them in covers I made from flipping over leaflets and folding them, spent free time at school pretending I was reading a regular book. We weren't allowed to bring comics to school. The unspoken agreement was that you could read novels as long as you didn't do it during class. If I could just ignore the hustle and bustle, lunchtime was the time I could focus the most. Yeah. I still remember when I was a kid, I remember a few times I just literally just started reading openly in class just other novels. And I was so much more of a smartass back then. So yeah. I think I remember like one teacher just hanging over and me making a big showcase of that's the school's property. If you don't hand it back or give it to them, then I'm giving the late fees to you. Like, my good god. Good god. Somewhere in those countless worlds, there was a time when I got bored of my daily life and read a lot of old documents. Thanks to that, I knew the gist of their contents. I just hope there was a clue somewhere in them about the fragment rejecting Hanyo from this world. What kind of old I'm curious what kind of old documentation would that be for this whole thing. Well, if you had time, I guess, to talk to Hanyo about it, I guess one more time, you can ask about that if like there's records about that. I mean, well, I say that, but if Hanyo's been like doing the whole centuries thing a while back, I'm pretty sure like if it was just me as well, she would forget about it or like so many different times, like stop reading all that, just focus on just blindly just spying other people, honestly. Because what else can you do? It had been raining since midday. My classmates had stayed in the classroom for break, venting their pent-up energy indoors. Thanks to that, it was a bothersome, loud, and uncomfortable day for me. Oh, hi. What's the gloomy look? What are you reading? Okay, okay, this is gonna be a fight. At the same time as those words, my old document was taken from me, and there was Sadako's face smiling evilly. Slap! What the heck? I can't read this. Yeah, because you're not smart. Sadako looked at the old document she stole from me with disgust. Someone as ignorant as Sadako had no way to understand it. I learned how to read classical Japanese from my father. Even I had to go over each line several times to figure it out. Of course, for Sadako, it wasn't about what it said. She seemed more amused at how unsanitary it looked, with dirty letters written on dirty paper. But even if it was nothing more than a filthy book to her, to me it was something that could hold a clue. When I tried to snatch it back, she threw it to another friend, as though she'd seen the attempt coming miles away. Yay. Oh, what is this? Oh, it's gross! The girl who caught it threw it to another kid. That kid, after his face scrunched up with the filth being given to him, grinned like an idiot and threw it to someone else. Over here! Pass it! What the fuck? Hi, Mion. Over here! Mion-san, pass! So my classmates threw it amongst themselves whenever I chased after it, teasing me. At some point, Mion had joined their circle and it turned into a classroom-wide bullying. Today wasn't the first time this happened. Actually, before I came here, it was always like this. Yay! Even a classroom with just 10 people, an order existed, and so did cliques. Belonged to none, not wanting to, I was the weakling in the room, and thus clearly the one it was okay to torment. Reina wasn't the one who said they should stop, but nobody listened to her. My classmates wanted to fool around. They probably want to tell her that I was the only toy in the room, so why shouldn't they play with her during lunch break? The last few days, it had left harming territory and moved into aggravating territory. This Sadako clearly treated me with spite. I'm trying to think if there's anything that actually technically happened in this world for this Rika and her or not, but I don't think there's been anything like that, so... when I thought about it now, the accident with the ball in the schoolyard that brought me into this world, she'd obviously been aiming for Rika, who had been just standing there in the yard. Was Sadako always as oblivious to the pain of others? She'd understood people's pains best, because even though she said mean things, she'd been through the worst of anyone. Oh, I see. In this world, Sadako's parents were alive, and the villagers didn't torment her. In other words, she hadn't been through the worst of anyone. Personality isn't wholly determined from birth. It's something cultivated over many events and experiences. Again, the whole, nature and nurture debate thing again, so yeah. Yeah. With her lucky dice rolls, this was how Sadako's personality had turned out in this world. You got spoiled, you brat. Yeah, I like, literally, the very second just meeting this Sadako, I had no allegiance to her, honestly. No allegiance. Never. It's a completely different story when the other Sadako was the first time, but I had none, no special attachment to her here. None, immediately. In other words, this Sadako was only the same on the outside, a completely different person from my best friend on the inside. Once I understood that, sadness of Sadako or tormenting me disappeared. In its place, she began to look like a horrible brat just getting in the way of my haste to return to my normal world. Don't bother me. I don't care what any of you do in this lunatic world. I'm desperately working to return to my original one, so stay in my way. Come on, Fruity-san! Over here! Over here! The old document made its way back to Sadako again. This time, Sadako started teasing me, waving around and saying to come get it. She held her nose and made a sour face like she was holding up something filthy, earning laughs and jeers in the rest of the class. I went straight for Sadako, and of course she threw it to the next one in line. She must have thought it would make me go over there next. I didn't care what the document was. Instead, I charged straight at Sadako. Time to make a fight. I took my nails in the base of my fingers and clenched my fist. I decided this is the fastest method to explain how important this was. Make her stand, prevent any reprisals, all in a very short amount of time. I saw my right fist at Sadako's face. I see my fist plow into her face below her left eye, the imprint that wouldn't soon disappear. Oh, good God. I promptly grabbed a clump of her hair and pushed her to the floor. I took a nearby chair and raised it over my head before smashing into her a few times. Okay, oh, good God. Sadako didn't know what just happened. Confused by the sudden violence, she just curled up like a turtle. It looked a little crazy, hitting her like a chair like this, but wouldn't hurt her very badly. You sound like either you're justifying it or you have experience with this. I raised the chair, then sent it down over top of Sadako's upper body, exactly as if to hold her to the ground. I lifted my foot up with the chair and stomped on it like it was hammering in like a nail. Okay! Sadako, you're being a little annoying. I was tolerating you since you look like a friend of mine. That shrill voice of yours is really starting to get my nerves. If you come within 1 meter of me, I'll punch you right away. No excuses. That's alright. Are you listening? I sat onto the chair again, finding some expression of fear right on Sadako's face. I knew this was the best answer. When given the chance, I had to give it to her straight. But it made me mad. I was the last one in the world who wanted to see Sadako looking like that. I was the one who was forcing her to make that expression. It made me sick. It was fine in the end. And thinking about it, like, that means, like, Satoshi also kind of also, like, sort of allowed this too, honestly. This Sadako wasn't the one I knew after all. And one day I'd leave this world for sure. And if I killed her on the spot, it wouldn't have anything to do with the Sadako of my world. That's why I didn't hurt inside at all, seeing her look at me so terrified. Yeah, this going the whole thing of you're not my special person, or just my friend, honestly, so I don't care about you at all. Come on, give Rika-chan our book back. Here, Rika-chan. Rena plucked the document from a bewildered classmate and returned it to me. So, forgive Sadako-chan, okay? Forgive... Yeah, no! I'll apologize for that, but not forgive. You went a little too far. Apologize, don't forgive this. It's my important book, and cutting to my precious reading time wasn't going too far. That isn't what I meant. You don't have anything to do with this. Step aside. I just want to get this back. I kicked the chair over, and it came to Sadako that she'd been released. There's your prison cell. It's now been opened. Even that action made her so scared that she was frozen in place. I didn't waste time going back to my own seat. Then Sadako began to bawl shamelessly. And Satoshi ran over, making a big overprotective fuss about the nurse's office and whatnot. The noise quickly reached the faculty room, and Chie and the principal soon burst in. Are you alright, Sadako-chan? This might leave a bruise. Toshi-kun, please take her to the nurse's office and have her rest. I'll call Yamamoto-sensei. While Chie was talking, the principal must have asked Mio what happened in the classroom. Mio spoke up in hushed tones, glancing my way. Yay. She's probably saying she had no part in this. Yay, how a normal person would talk about this and try to report it. Like, I had no problem, I had no involvement with this. I was on the sideline, did absolutely nothing. I had no part of this. Nasty me, I might say that. She didn't betray my expectation. The principal came over to me and told me to come with him to the principal's office. And this usually happens when a bullied child happens to bully back. Yep, it's basically the normal situation. Honestly, let the bullies have a fun time, and a very second they fight back. Blame the person who fought back. Honestly, it's still a prevalent issue. Honestly, the side effect of the bullying, perhaps. I was really seriously fed up with everything. My goal had only been to scare Sadako off and bother me ever again. The only thing to think about is I can already imagine that Ri could probably do her best to make sure if her parents get called and all that, to hide the papers anyway still. Now that I'd done that, I decided to need to calm the situation down. The fancy ashtray's back again. After being brought to the principal's office, I kept asking why I punched Sadako. He lectured me that violence is never the answer. But regarding her taking my book and tormenting me, he admitted she was at fault, and I felt a little relieved. This is a fairly difficult book. Is it from your house, Rudy's-kun? Yeah, something like that. I don't dislike classical Japanese, but this one seems fairly difficult. Can you read this? If I could, I wouldn't have been reading it. You do a point. Would you mind telling me a little about what's written here? His behavior wasn't one of interest in the book, so much as an ad dripping with pity, like he wanted to ease the mind of someone alienated and bullied in class a little. Like something that would do nothing but further amplify my current unhappiness. I don't want friends anyways. I don't want you to be my friend either, Sensei. Can I leave now? I want to get to you reading as soon as possible. Rudy-kun, it's good to read books, but don't you think you should play with your friends once in a while? That's a key word right there. My friends are somewhere else. Far away. They're not here, so I don't care. Does the hand hurt at all? Oh. I didn't realize until the principal pointed it out. I must have scraped the skin of my hand when I punched Sadako as hard as I could. A little bit of blood was seeping from my right fist. Yamamoto-sensei's nurse's office, so go see him and get that bandaged up. I will. Rudy-kun? School isn't only for studying. It's also for making friends. I'd like you to take that to... Excuse me. Bow. This world's principal wasn't the principal who was allowed to lecture me. I didn't have any desire to listen. Yeah, this is a tough situation all around again. It's another one of those. There's no easy way for it. On my way to the nurse's office, I passed the classroom. Met eyes of several students inside, but they immediately looked away. And this will work out. More comfortable with them being scared than teasing me. You know, like what? Was it better to just take the bullying honestly, like it's the new status quo in the new world order, or just them ignoring you that's just the same? When I went to the nurse's office, the doctor was putting a big piece of absorbent cotton into Sadako's eye. Chie, who was with her, looked at me, then walked over with a scary look on her face. Yay, more lectures. Okay, you two. Seko-san, apologize for taking her book. And Rudy-san, apologize for punching her. Okay, yes, apologies all around, but I won't forgive her. Sadako, who had been scared and weak in the face of the sudden violence earlier, must have calmed down since she now looked dejected. She looked like it didn't make sense to her, how she's only teasing me a little, and then I suddenly went crazy for no reason and hit her. If she was like that, there was no way she would apologize first. Of course, I had no duty to apologize either, so I wouldn't apologize first. Come on, both of you. You're gonna stay here until you apologize to one another. Just lock in the room and just turn into a sick constellation and then you bond over this shared experience being locked in the room for overnight. Chie yelled at us. Clearly making a sour face, I held my bleeding fist at Yamamoto. Oh, you're bleeding. Take a seat. I'll disinfect it. Both of you! Are you not listening to your teacher? Apologize! I sensed that if we kept making Chie mad, she might tell us to stay after school. What do you think this was? Like hell, let some school I don't care about do their little lecturing nonsense at me. Every second of every minute is precious. I can't waste a single one. Understood that, I was the first to act. As Yamamoto disinfected the wound, I smoothly gave her my apology. Ojo-san, I'm sorry for punching you and stuff. And stuff. He knows appalled at how insincere my apology was. She felt probably said the same way, but she at least appreciated the words. See, Fruity-san apologized. Sadako-san, you apologized too. I'm very sorry for taking your book and playing a joke on you. Sadako's own apology was no less disingenuous than mine. I glared straight into Sadako's eyes, warning her never to bother me again. But Sadako was in a rebellious phase. It took a lot more than that to make her wince. Chair to the face again. God damn it, no. She returned my glare in kind, as to say she'd get me back next time. She sighed. It won't unable to do much about our insincere apologies. And then the bell signaling the end of lunch break rang. Sadako-san, let's go back to the classroom. Fruity-san, we can come back as soon as you're patched up. Okay, can do, teach, salute. Chie followed Sadako and left the nurse's office. I didn't give them so much as a glance and just held my right hand out to Yamamoto. The stinging pain of the disinfectant was somehow weak. The hand receiving the treatment didn't even feel like my hand. I suppose it wouldn't. It's Rika Furui's hand. It's not mine. It's not my pain I'm feeling. It's someone else's from a different universe entirely. Their pain is actually projecting across the multiverse and to me. No. Not mine. Everyone must feel lonely that school is ending next year. Aren't you? No, not really. After living here your whole lives, your homeland will sink into a lake. Oh, good God, like, it's probably, like, you only have a year or two to figure out, I guess, where the fragment here honestly is before it all just gets submerged and then be stuck here forever, then. That has to be sad. I understand how you all feel. That must have been Yamamoto's interpretation of the strained atmosphere in the classroom. If he was convinced of that, then maybe it was fine. Didn't matter to me. Even you had all our friends until not too long ago. But everyone you got along with happened to transfer schools at the same time. I'm no stranger to how sad it feels to be someone left all alone. Friends I got along with? Tomita-kun and Okamura-kun and the rest, of course. Yeah, okay, yeah, those... Everyone that we know, technically speaking, are not even in the same class anymore, but they transferred out. You always spent time with the boys since you got along with them, didn't you? I think they're pretty partial to you as the only girl in their group, though. I see. Even Rika Fruity had friends for a while in this world. And thanks to a stroke of bad luck, they all transferred out together and left her behind. But they're not your only friends out there, right? I understand how lonely you must feel. May only know them until next year. But I think it would be good for you to make friends with the other kids in class and enjoy your time with them. I don't want to get close to them. My real friends, as you said, they went far away. Very, very far away. All I want to do is go there. When did you start talking so much like a grown-up, Rika-chan? I guess I just feel like it. Just the mature side of Rika just took over. Ever since you got knocked out by the ball the other day, I feel like your expressions have grown darker. I'm worried about you. I didn't know how close as Yamamoto's man was to Rika Furude, nor how much of her he knew. But judging for his words, he seemed to be the kind of adult who understood children's feelings, just like Irie in the previous world. Well, at least there's a replacement for him here, then, properly, then. He's probably a way better version of Irie with all his stupid fucking maid talk and actually someone whom, they can actually, like, kids can actually talk to besides their parents and anyone else. Ugh, it's way better than him. When that ball hit her, I think Rika Furude died. Okay, that's a way to put it to an adult. If that was all it took to die, nobody could play dodgeball. If we died back then, wouldn't that make you a corpse? Oh, good God, don't tell me this is all going down to just her humoring dark humor now. Yamamoto laughed a little, but not complete to tease me. It was just to urge me further along. So Yamamoto wasn't just a doctor in the nurse's office, a mental counselor for students at a susceptible age. It looked like he wasn't Irie's replacement for nothing. For some reason, I felt like opening up a little to him. Maybe just because it didn't exist in the world I knew. Right now, everyone who was in the world I knew, no matter who it was, made me feel uncomfortable. There's also the whole thing of, like, talking and, like, telling to someone who's, like, what would make you anonymous or, like, you'd never interact with ever again, actually. Ugh. That was why I felt like opening up specifically to someone who wasn't in that world. After all, Yamamoto probably thought I was just a girl in puberty. Whatever nonsense I spouted, he would nod and agree, right? I'm not the Rika Furuta you and the others know. What does that mean? Rituals, that's what! Who are you, then? For now, I've decided to take the name Burn Castell. If I call myself Rika Furuta, it would be rude to the person who originally had this body. Burn? A German name? It's almost like you're a space alien. Where did you come from? From a different world. How to compare it, it's like a world of what-ifs. It's still Hinamizawa, but its history and composition are completely different. In this world, they moved forward the dam project. The village decided to leave, but in my world, it's different. The villagers stood up together to defeat the project. The government froze indefinitely. That's the kind of world I came from. Then Hinamizawa you came from won't end up underwater. That's right. When you entered 1983, we would keep living there peacefully. Sounds like a nice Hinamizawa. I'm taking a liking to this area as well, so the eviction is pretty painful for me. I suppose I'm jealous of Hinamizawa and the world you say you came from. You weren't there, oh. Can you tell me more about the one in that world? The first step in counseling was to agree to whatever absurd story the patient came out with. Yeah, that's like literally how like therapy should go. Both to just agree with everything and what happens. Like, it was even brought up in like other mystery games, and it actually led to a kind of interesting twist, honestly. If don't keep repeatedly just getting rid of quote unquote someone's delusion or not, and sometimes like just have them saying it all out and like help you that kind of like come up with a better treatment for it, honestly. Yeah, like if you have a good therapist or counselor, probably the best person to talk to here, honestly. Probably actually is just the best person for Rika to talk to in this world anyway. The first step in counseling was to agree to whatever absurd story the patient came out with. If I didn't know that piece of trivia, I might have teared up at Yamamoto telling me to continue. But I couldn't resist the temptation to keep going. He encouraged me, and I kept talking. In that world, there was a big protest movement we call the Dan Conflict. It took years for them to withdraw the proposal. Just imagine, like, you tell, like, this entire history of this other world. You're saying, like, you have very detailed memories about this. And through that conflict, the villagers came together. Everyone got along, all the students were friends, and we even had transfer students come in from outside the village time to time. We made a club where we played games, with me as the president. While Sadako was very unfortunate, she was good friends with me. And then... Poor Sadako-chan. Why did the villagers bully her like that? If everyone was happy, they shouldn't have been mean to her. They should have let her into the happy circle. They don't say those things to be mean. That's just how my world is. And she might have had a more painful fate in this world, Sadako. But that one was my best friend. One I couldn't replace or compare with anyone. Seeing the way Sadako is in this world makes me madder than it should. You can't tolerate her being mean to you when she looks the same as your real friend? Yes. Yamamoto heaved a heavy sigh, then stared at the window with his arms folded. This could be a lot to try to give advice to this kid, honestly. It looked like the rain outside had let up somewhat, but it was still drizzling. After keeping silence for a few moments, Yamamoto spoke up. What you're saying is, this isn't your world? That's right. I need to get back to my original world, because this one isn't mine. I can see why you'd want to turn to such a fun-sounding Hinamizawa as soon as you could. But is there even a way to do that? There is, but it's very hard to find. I see. What did they do? I had to kill someone as a fragment inside them! Okay. A fragment is lost somewhere in Hinamizawa, I think. Because that fragment, Hanyo, or should I say, Oyashiro-sama, can't come to this world and bring me back. Oyashiro-sama? You mean the deity worshipped at the Furuta Shrine? It would take too long to explain, but basically yes. I traveled through countless worlds with her. This world just happens to be one of the ones I drifted to. So as soon as she can get here, I plan on leaving. That escalated pretty quickly. Yeah, you're learning all this one after another, and you have to figure out a way how to navigate this conversation. I actually fully pity you, dude. In other words, normally you and Oyashiro-sama would come to this world together. But Oyashiro-sama, the one with the power to bring you to this world, can't get in for some reason. Which means you've been left behind, like a boat that drifted out ashore? Generally speaking, yes. A fragment blocking her is somewhere in Hinamizawa. If I don't find it and burn it, I can't go back to my old world. Where might that fragment be? Somewhere. A fragment is feelings. Must be something with those in it. I don't know what kind of object it resides in. There's no proof it's in an object at all. It could be inside a person. Okay, you actually said that aloud. Oh my god. I just don't know. You said it, you burn if it was an object, right? Okay, you were slowly thinking the exact same thing and thinking, oh no, please don't take this wrong. What would you do if it was a person? How you said if it was a person, killing them would amount to the same thing. I'm praying the fragment isn't residing in a person. Maybe you need to take a trip to a certain hospital. My good god. Who is this Hanyo? A new character? Oh, it's another name for Oyashiro-sama. Hanyo is actually her real name. I think Oyashiro-sama was just a name the villagers gave her later on. I see. Was it in the book you're reading? No, not exactly. Yamamoto's arms remained folded, and he groaned in thought. That's a lot to take hold. And the sound settled, with rain being the only audible sound. Maybe I got nervous. I knew I wouldn't solve anything to talk about it, but I did anyway. Yamamoto was probably wondering if something was wrong with my brain. I could guess that by looking at his complicated expression. Do you think you'll find the fragment? I don't know. Since it can interfere with Hanyo, I figured there might be a clue in something related to Onishiro-sama, which is why I was reading these old documents. I was searching for a clue to search for the fragment, really. I see. I do hope you find it. But if it was a person, what would you do? You wouldn't really kill them, would you? It's hard to answer when you put it like that, but... if that was the only way to return to my old world, I might not hesitate. Draw off my world's point of view, this world is a delusion. A daydream. Or dies here, they'll be alive in my world, so it doesn't matter. That's so much to talk to about this for this person. I hope it doesn't turn this whole thing where like Yuma decide to literally oh good god, take this and just lock her up for this or something like that. Oh good god. I see, but hold on a moment. This world might just be a dream to you, but it's the real world for me. It wouldn't be good for if someone was killed, no matter who it was. I understand your logic, but I want nothing more than get out of here without having to kill someone. Let's get back on track. Let's not talk about killing. This Hanyo, who tells you about how to go back to your old world. How did she tell you that? Something like a divine message? Or does she appear in your dreams? No, nothing that vague. I talked to her. There's a crystal ball that acts to communicate between us. Would I be able to talk to this Hanyo as well? That would be the fastest way. If you could talk to Hanyo directly, that would be enough to prove my nonsense true. But I felt uneasy. If I could talk to her, Yamamoto might not be able to. Those kinds of magic items come up pretty often in stories. I was already immediately thinking that the very second he brought communication devices. Just it's like one of those fantasy stories. But maybe it's worth a shot trying. Like this is the last time you can talk to Hanyo, and if he can't hear or to speak to you, maybe try to find some way to prove that you technically know things that he never told anyone or something like that. Hanyo, look up a person named Yamamoto and learn about all his sordid past. Tell me everything. I don't think that's gonna work though. I took the crystal ball in my pocket. That marble is a communicator? That's what it looks like, right? I thought the same thing. And the crystal ball's light was extremely weak. As it got dimmer, it was also taking longer to restore lately. I'm talking to her several days ago. The light weakened again. It was having a hard time recovering. This much light wasn't quite enough. It looked like I need a bit more time to recover. Can you see light in this marble? I wonder. Maybe just reflecting light? But it's very pretty. Is it from a Ramoon bottle? Of course not. It's one of those stopper balls, so you can't sip from it. Honestly, okay, wow. Of course not. It's a fruity shrine treasure called the Kamu, no something, and we should be grateful for it. It's rude of me to say, but I agree that looks like a Ramune bottle marble to me too. From the fruity shrine. Thought he used this to talk to Hanyo. I put it to my forehead. And when I do, I can hear her voice. Yamamoto immediately tried. I don't... I appreciate your enthusiasm, me sir. He shut his eyes and let out a low groan. It probably wouldn't work. I couldn't tell if it was because it wasn't me, or because the power was too weak. I'm sorry, but I can't hear anything. What about you? He needs to recover a certain amount of power to talk to Hanyo. Like, my good god. Let me have it. No, it doesn't work for me either. You can't hear Hanyo's voice. The crystal ball doesn't have all its power. I pushed it tightly against my forehead, but all I felt was a cool sensation. I couldn't feel the power in it. I see. That's a shame. Well, in a few days, some of the power should return. If you give me time, I'm sure I'll be able to talk to her again. If you let me try again, then. I see. But once you talk to her, would you mind letting me talk as well? Yes, of course. This rate, you'll think I'm crazy in the head and it'll all be over. It'll be bad to taste my mouth if I didn't clear up such a rude misunderstanding. How long does it take for the crystal ball's divine power to recover? Not much longer, I think. Just like giving the entire rundown to some other stranger. Which if he's gonna be important person later on, which the sound of it he is, I kind of wish he had sprites, honestly. Or like he just gets sprites immediately here, honestly. That would be another kicker, honestly. I was probably really wants to know how to imagine him, how he looks like, honestly. Probably someone who's maybe professional at the same time casual. My first thought in my mind actually comes to him, somewhat of a mix of Oishin Irie in my brain right now. I don't know why my mind really goes to that. I just have a sneaky suspicion, just a combination of those two together in my brain. Personality, maybe a bit appearance-wise, actually, too. Not much longer, I think. Might even be fine for one more night. Once its power comes back, I'll tell you. Thank you. I'll be waiting. You do let me talk to Hanyo. How about I help you go back to your old world, too? Does it sound good? Really? This old world help made a deep impression in my mind. If someone other than Hanyo around to understand me, it'd obviously be a reassurance. With two people, the time it would take to go through the piles of literature would be halved. I'd welcome the help of a cat at this point, so I was really glad. You really just call everyone like little cats, honestly? That's kind of funny. Codename cats. You're my ally, so you're now a certified cat. Pat Pats. Great. On the other hand, I had to think about what Yamamoto felt. It's probably he's like labeling that way just to get onto your good side, obviously, and like make sure to help you out more. And he's like using his own metaphor. He's using your metaphor. He thinks everything you're saying is a metaphor for your own delusions, and he's using it back to explain to get you back to how you normally are. That feeling. But yeah, I'm actually doubting like you'll actually hear Hanyo. And to give you back and forth, just explaining him, I know things about you never told anyone, Yamamoto. I know what you did April 17th in 1979. I never told anyone that. How could you know? God damn it. Most embarrassing time in his own life. Yamamoto right now, I was a dangerous person who said she might even commit murder over a delusion. He was only speaking to me in such an understanding way to try and keep communication going. Didn't mean he actually believed me. But if Hanyo and Yamamoto could talk, it'd clear all those fears away, and then he'd have to believe in this supernatural phenomenon of Hanyo and me, Bernstein. Oh good god, and Bern Castell, two Bernstein bears, god damn it. No, please, brain, don't do this. But the real world didn't usually work out that well. After all, even if I made Hanyo talk to him, it could end in the way it always does, with Yamamoto not hearing anything. I could convey what she was saying, but he wouldn't believe it. That didn't mean I had the option of not trying. I wouldn't give up before doing it. I try everything. Wasn't the lesson I learned from this 100-year journey? Yes. Promise me. When you talk to Hanyo, you have to believe me. Even though all she says is, doesn't really act like a god. I promise. If you let me talk to Hanyo, I'll believe your story. If I can't talk to her, what will you do? I didn't actually think you were probably like that, and it confused me. What do you mean, what will I do? I promise to believe your story if you win. Then why not promise you that if I win, you'll believe my story? That sounds fair, doesn't it? Okay, that's actually an interesting way to put that out, actually. Okay. Wow, okay. That's oddly straightforward. Okay. Respect points. What story do you want me to believe? Well, I could imagine it without having to ask. He'd probably tell me to go to the largest hospital and have my head given a proper look at. Of course, nothing absolutely wrong with my head, so I come up with 0 results. What happened? Maybe they say I need to take care of my mind and give me psychotropic drugs or something. I heard this from Reno once before. It's a drug that makes you incredibly lethargic, and it'll do or even think anything at all. Yay. Dangerous patients think terrible things and sometimes actually do them. The drug stopped that from happening. If they made me take that, it'd be the same as killing me. Might seem like a fair condition, but it looked to me like the scales weren't in my favor to begin with. I shouldn't have told stuff to a man I barely knew. After all that, I'd begin to regret my decision. Could I fool him if I said, "It was all a joke, did you believe me, Napa, Hoshi?" Probably not by this point. Probably still, probably one of those things, it makes absurdly amount of sense compared to your behavior, with especially the documents, actually. So because they had the fact that you're reading the documents, honestly, and this whole situation, it's probably gonna be hard to do that again, so yeah, no. It's not gonna work. If that was gonna be my last resort, I could use it in my attempt to have Yamamoto and Hanyo communicate failed. I couldn't abandon the possibility that Yamamoto could be my ally without trying first. Then I'll keep a slot open tomorrow just for you, Rika-chan. Does that sound good? He made a suggestion, taking a notebook out of his coat and going over his other appointments. I nodded and said that I agreed. At least there's an opening for, I guess, some kind of help, honestly. I do like stories that do this whole thing of, whether or not, how was in beginning of Higurashi, where, you're debating whether or not, okay, I'm immediately getting unnerving vibes just seeing Satoshi's face here, but I do love it when stories, begin out, and, you're left wondering for a while whether, the things that all the characters are going through is literally just all in their heads, or it's literally just, actual supernatural stuff. And, you're just left wondering, and even if there is supernatural stuff involved, it feels like it's a complete one-to-one with probably what happens psychologically speaking. How was there, where we know that, Rika is, absolutely telling the absolute truth, but everything to the daughter's side sounds like complete delusion, honestly. Those kind of stories are just so interesting so much. Even actually the dialogue, actually, that Rika had with the doctor, and, even, some of the things, she brought up in this, thing with the wine bottle and stuff like that, reminds me of things I've written before in other stories, honestly. The entire thing of, comparing one-to-one to, I guess, either delusion or something supernatural happening. Yeah, or literally just, people, confusing a supernatural when it really is just delusion, stuff like that. That kind of stuff is just fascinating to me. Just using those kinds of, otherworldly, just, really interesting and entertaining, concepts, and, using as a sort of way to, explain things that in real life, honestly, that kind of stuff. It's really fascinating to me. It's really so fascinating. Definitely the reason why probably a lot of people, took to Higurashi, and, even me with this series, honestly. Even though, probably there's, some moments, in the series, like I mentioned before, the 7th installment was just, the repeating thing of, people getting protest groups all together just to, just save Sadako, which I know it all came down to her making a choice, but, it all just showcased to me just, again, we already knew before that, the group was not, the Child Constantine Center was not gonna help at all. This made things feel a bit worse, honestly. Again, the only, few times, I did like those chapters, like, the moments that happened outside those protest scenes, because we already knew exactly how every single one of those protest scenes are going to happen every single time. I already figured that out quickly. Like, every conversation that everyone had to plan things out a further day, and even, like, the conversation Oishi had with that, and even with him trying to both try to play him, a law-abiding, officer who's about to retire, and has that tiny line of him, I do care, I want you to do this, but I had to do my duty as well, kind of thing. Like, again, like, ugh, my god, this whole another bunch of different emotions. Okay, so what is this, Satoshi? Are you now gonna either be a new enemy for Rika, or you're gonna try to smooth things over? Because hopefully based on the fact that the old clinic actually probably researched Hinamizawa syndrome. Let's just assume and hope to God that that secretly Fumi Takano actually cured everyone of it secretly, and no one ever knew about it. Let's hope that was the case. Let's hope that was the case, please. Rika-chan, do you have a moment? After school, I was late to head home before the rainstorm began. Satoshi caught up to me. Okay. We're being ganged up. Oh, good God. This is more terrifying than anything else in this game so far. Oh my good God, stop. I looked up and saw Mia and Reino with him. I've been stopped by the upperclassmen brigade. Their expressions weren't exactly gentle ones. I suspected that I was in for some sort of punishment after what I did during lunch break. Do you need something from me? Yeah. We want to talk to you a little. About lunch break? Well, that too. Okay. That's okay. I'm sorry for hitting Sadako with the chair and stuff. I suppose the word's fine, but didn't bother to hide my glum attitude. Please don't be scared, Rika-chan. We're not here to scold you or anything like that. And grab our own chair and slide it over your head, too. Oh, good God. Why are you... I'll say it straight. We need to talk about how to get along with everyone from now on. It's just... I just want you to understand something. Some responsibility for things ending up this way belongs to you, Rika-chan. Yeah, part of it is. Yeah, you didn't have to say that. I think it's an upperclassman's duty to explain these things. Very bluntly, I may so ask. Just because you're saying the entire truth, honestly, doesn't mean it's a good idea to say the entire truth again. Don't let me go down this entire list of saying well, there's good to like lie and stuff like that, because if you tell the whole truth, sometimes it makes things worse. You choose your words wisely, you. Isn't it? Technically speaking. Technically it is. But you're running in thin ice, Missy. This conversation didn't look like it would be a fun one. Well, at least it's at least for the time being, it's less scary than I originally thought it was, with everyone completely and utterly smiling with absolutely no apprehension or any tension in their faces. Just imagine after like being someone near to death, then like a few people who are taller and like obviously way stronger than you just like walks up with big giant smiles on your face and like hey, puts hand on your shoulder. We should talk. Yeah, just imagine that. Yeah. This conversation didn't look like to be a fun one. If I blew him off, it would probably only get worse, so I decided to just pretend I was listening. Rena took my silence for me being dispirited, and she started speaking in a much more lighthearted tone. Hello. Mika-chan, don't you think it'd be great if you could make friends with everyone and have lots of fun playing with them? So you were thinking about what we could do so you can get along with everybody. Oh good God, the club is being made again for this. What do you think about that? What do you? I don't know. You may not know this, Pikachu, but Mion, she collects a lot of games. Right? Well, it's no hobby of mine. When I was little, I collected a ton of board games and card games for some reason. I haven't bothered with them at all recently, but I just couldn't just get rid of them, so I have the whole lot piled up in storage. Huh. So now Rika is in Sadako position this entire time now. Wowee. Well, with just minus the fact of him being, well, not physically bullied, but emotionally, I guess. Well, I guess technically it's emotional bullying, but, still. She has all these fun games, but she won't play them with anyone, so they're just collecting dust. What a waste, right? I want to play that British burglar game with thief puts on sunglasses. I cannot imagine for the life of me what game you're thinking about right now. What? They better be palm tree sunglasses, the most ridiculous kind. That's the only way to how to play. I want to play the game where you connect tree branches like building blocks. Never heard of that game either. All the manuals are in English. That Shion, and those manuals is the only thing she was good at. You could just ask her, but she goes to another school far away. And we should all try to figure them out together. I'm sure that'll be fun. Yay, about translating things. Yeah, that's true. If we all play by the same rules, then even if we're all wrong, it'll still be fair. We are playing with the wrong set of rules, but we all listen to these wrong rules, so it'll still be fair. Honestly, yes. Wasn't that sound like fun? You're thinking about starting an after-school game club. Rika, did you actually, like, accidentally plant that, like, that idea in their brains the first time you went home with Reina, actually? Like, I'm, like a god. A club for games. Sounds boring, I don't want to. Everyone in class can play. And while you're playing with everyone, I'm sure you'll eventually become part of the circle before you know it, Rika-chan. In other words, this is your upperclassmen being considerate and giving you the chance to fit in. Again, Mion, you don't have to say it like that. Again, too blunt. Stop it. Stop it. I thought you were meant to be a leader. Stop being so blunt. You're meant to, like, bring people together and, like, raise the spirits. You're being a bit blunt about it. I felt a little sorry for you lately, even being part of that teasing, so you're on thin ice still. I actually think some of your current isolation is your own fault, Rika-chan. Again, yes, again, but you're saying it so bluntly. My own fault. Which, again, I know there's some people out there who, like, are, like, stuck in their own world, honestly. They probably do need, like, a sort of, like, shock to the system, honestly, but sometimes, Reina and Satoshi fell silent after hearing that. I guess everyone in class shares Mion's opinion. My own fault. Of course, though this is about me, I had no idea what they meant by that. They were talking about the Rika Furude before I came. To me. She was the same as a stranger. But to them, it must have seemed like my surprised tone was just me not understanding because I was young. They sighed a little. How do we explain this to someone who's like, with comprehension of a toddler? I'm still right here, you know. Shush, we're trying to think of the best way to put this. There's an unpleasant sigh, like they were telling me to look at myself. Just brings up a full-scale mirror. Look at yourself. You see those bags in your eyes? You caused it yourself. I want to be free from this as soon as possible. Okay, Mom. Before everyone moved away, Rika-chan, you were kind of like a princess, weren't you? I was a princess? Yep, a princess. Rika-chan, you were like a princess to that group of boys. Had them wrapped around your little finger. You didn't even need to do anything, you just let them act for you. Do you remember Tomita-kun and Okamura-kun? They seemed to like you a lot, so they'd do whatever you told them to. You just sat in your reputation, unconcerned. So, both Sadako and Rika here were also spoiled before things went down the hill. Okay. I was wondering exactly what was different back then. I'm wondering, maybe, like, there was a weird spat that Rika and, Sadako had in this world. I guess that's right, actually. I wonder if, like, that little thing actually caused them to butt heads a lot, and that's why this hatred is now. Well, at least one-sided, because Rika has no idea about it right now. That ball to the face fucking ruined my memories, Guided Sadako. It's all your fault! When you do things like make the boys who like to compete, so you can always get the best deal like a war profiteer. A lot of kids didn't think that was very fair. Some of those boys all met at the same time. By coincidence, only you were left behind. Some of those kids thought you got what you deserved. None of that was about me. Yeah. Rika-chan, we're talking about you. Is there anyone else in this room we're talking to? This is not what Michan is saying. I am. But it's not me. I'm Bern Castell. No, you're not. Rika-chan, you think it doesn't have anything to do with you. Am I right? Whether Reina, she was still just as sharp about the weirdest things. I still like how, yeah, this, like, just even this situation, honestly, is a complete one-to-one to just a normal slice of life story. This is actually really good. This is really good writing. I love this. It's good. I wanted to believe it was just a wild guess, but she had hit the nail right in the head with a large-scale sledgehammer. It caved in. Rana, you stop too. Stop being blunt, y'all. I think Rika-chan has thought about it enough already. I wonder. She still hasn't said so. Seems to me like she didn't realize it until we told her. Come on, stop it. We're not here to bully Rika-chan any more than you usually did. Well, except for you, Reina. We really want her to be friends with everyone, right? That means we all have to work hard to change our relationships with each other. For some reason, I was upset. Because it was as though they weren't talking about Rika Furude, but about me. Me. A princess. And there was no guarantee I wasn't one until now. They could all be trying to gaslight you. Loved the most of all the club members. Rena and the boys in the class pampering me, laughing at Sadako and Keiichi's failures they coolly profited from their conflict. Without giving anything myself, I just greedily devoured the goodwill people poured upon me. Was it like just only those two and just whatever like random other like boys there were? Okay. They were right. That was me. That's actually another interesting way to like spin, I guess every character's like personality we know to I guess something a bit more harsher. At least I'm harsher in a different context. It's actually kind of cool. I hadn't wanted to accept this sad, lonely world, set myself apart. But of course, they couldn't have actually been talking about me, because I'm me. I'm me, he says. So, though I didn't know the reason, I was still upset. We were thinking of having Sadako join the club too. That's gonna take a while for her to get to him warm up to everything, but I'm okay. She's really stubborn, so she won't say it. But she wants to get along with you, Rika-chan. There's a part of me that's wondering that's kind of wrong, at least in part because again, softball to the face. What was that again? I think it was a dodgeball, actually. I hope it was. It was a softball or baseball, then oh my good god. My immediate first thought is I'm trying to almost manslaughter charge, attempted murder. How's that sound? You want to try being in our game club, Rika-chan? Should be lots of fun. No, think of it this way. Do you want to start putting a little bit of effort to change yourself? Some things might be awkward at first, of course. I'm sure you'll get along with everyone sooner or later. After all, everyone wants to be your friend. If you want to be their friend too, then you're both reaching out your hands. I'm sure you meet in the middle. And look, we're already reaching out to you. Are you holding your hands out in front of you right now? All you have to do is grab hold, Rika-chan. I felt like Keiichi says something a lot like that in some other world. Well, that's what Reina says here, and look at that. So, technically Keiichi 1.0, Keiichi's 2.0, honestly. That's what they're all saying. It's still kind of just funny that I'm, even though, yeah, Satoshi is, a different personality, honestly. A bit more polite and less, but a bit less of Keiichi's, just blatantly just horniness based on all that. He's nice. It's still kind of interesting to just how some of they are still, honestly. It's the most weirdest coincidence of all in the world. Those words probably made Rika Furude really happy, but that wasn't me. Well, this really applied to the Rika Furude from before I possessed this body. For me, this world was fake, a dream world. Besides, I was in the middle of a hunt. I'm trying to find this a sacred fragment. Honestly, don't get involved with me. I didn't have time to hang out with them. They weren't faking their feelings for Rika Furude. I found myself without an answer. I lost how to respond to them. I'm sorry, Rika-chan. To the truth. When we went to wash our hands and you were talking with Yamamoto-sensei in the nurse's office, we might have overheard you a tiny bit. We heard you playing to him, trying to kill someone, so, my good god. Reina gave me an apologetic look. I never thought others would be listening to the conversation, which must have sounded like garbled nonsense to anyone from this world. I understand if it weirded them out and they didn't want to come near me, but I couldn't quite understand why it resulted in this. I'm wondering if, like, literally the first time that, like, Satoshi tried to, like, talk to Rika before she zipped out was, or, like, trying to talk about this kind of thing before as well. Maybe, like, a roughest of rough drafts of Club Plan. The world you're talking about, Rika-chan? It's like a really fun world, where everyone gets along together. You said you want to go back there, right, Rika-chan? So we talked and thought about how we could bring you back there. Still, something we can call back Tomita-kun or Kimura-kun now that they moved. Oh, you only heard bits and pieces about that. Okay, you didn't hear about the more important bits. You only heard about sort of like the absolute sincerity that Rika like we talked about. You didn't hear everything. Good actually. You only heard the realistic bits. Yep, I think everyone wants to go back to the old world. I think that's definitely impossible. Let's turn back the clock right now. Spiritual powers activate. Huh? That startled me. There's no way Reina knew about me and my old world. Even still, her words felt full of meaning. They echoed in my heart. You can gather all the fragments of the cup together, but they're just fragments. Yeah, you only barely heard everything, but still. Once it breaks, it can't go back to the way it was. I mean, you technically can fix it together, but it just makes something new out of it. It's something, you know, probably like something more beautiful. It's like, oh gosh, what was that one thing? It's like the golden like glue, honestly, to put the cracks together. It's not the whole case, just like trying to make it back to its original form, but like admiring the cracks the cracks it had from it shattering before, and just admiring the fact that, you know, it's melted back together, maybe stronger. That's more than one cup. It's a shame the cup broke, but you can always look for another one, or you can super glue the old one and make it better. But if you look down the broken cup forever, you'll never, ever find it. Well, here's what we mean, Rika-chan. You can't get your good friends who moved away to come back here. So you just have to make new friends who are just as good as they were. I think a world like that would be really close to the one you came from, Rika-chan. It wouldn't be exactly the same, of course. Not exactly, no. I think it's the closest you're gonna get. Does it sound like you're gonna... Does it sound like just now... I know you're well meaning by that, but it just makes me like immediately just dumb it down to you gotta settle for what you get. And by doing that, you can make even stronger relationships than you had before. You know what they say? When it rains, the ground is harder. Or something like that anyway. I thought it was when it rains, it pours. And I'm pretty sure that's the worst thing to say here, honestly. You know, it's raining outside like right now. What do you think, Rika-chan? Well, how about so you can make new friends quickly? Would you like to give it a try? Those gentle words would have been tear-worthy if they'd been said to this world's Rika Furude. But now that I have possessed her, she was gone. The Rika Furude they were talking to is no longer this world. It's gonna be an entirely weird thing when you go back to your go back to the OG world and that Rika who hopefully I hope it's not back to the world you died in, went to somewhere else, and like you saw right back, honestly. I hope it's that. If she comes back here, then she probably wouldn't even learn of anything, honestly. That or like had to get used to a lot of different things all at once then. Oh good god. Let's just hope that she's faring well then, that Rika. I thought to myself that I should just give this body back to her. If I did, then me living in this remote parallel universe would have had a chance to change her fate. And this world a happy one, if only little by little. If I went back to my old world and gave this leftover body back to Rika Furude, but I couldn't do that. Because for me to leave this world, it would require the same method as returning the fragment from this world to the world of the gods. In other words, my death. Only my death could make me go away. Which meant at the point I took over for Rika Furude, she was the same as dead. But maybe there was one way to return this body to Rika Furude. That would be for me to die a different way. I wasn't a parasite or anything. Difficult to understand in terms, I was an individual personality aware of other universes, and instead of being a technical parasite latching to someone else, you literally just hollowed out another person's brain, you just swap it over to someone else, just like taking out their little insides then, I guess, and just putting it into someone else's brain, I guess. Or maybe I should call myself a memory aware of what the universe is. And that meant that if I could forget about the other worlds, that would represent the same things as me dying. This world was the only one for Rika Furude. I mean, she would live the best she could in it. If so, I would gradually forget, eventually losing my grasp on which world I had lived in, and try my hardest to live in the world I was in now. Which meant that giving up on my previous world, living in this one, was possible simply if I decided to do it. Like Reina said, it might be a bit different world than my old one, but it was the closest I could ever get. It might be a little different from my old world, but a club would still form. In exchange for Keiichi and half our classmates, Satoshi was here. I wasn't best friends with Sadako, but depending on how we interacted in the future, we could at least become regular friends. Hinamizawa would sink underwater in another 6 months, but I could work hard to make new friends in my new home. That cruel destiny wasn't Rika Furude's alone. It was an impartial destiny, shared equally by all who lived in this world. Only I had the luxury of being a special case, jumping between destinies at a whim. I didn't know. Which world should I devote myself to? Both? Reina's world came back to me. A broken cup never went back to normal. I couldn't find another one as long as I was lamenting the first. What did the cup represent? Cups were for filling with water. The water could probably be called happiness. Okay, you're taking this metaphor to this natural conclusion then? The cup broke, and the happiness inside was scattered everywhere. The cup was broken, and I was at a loss, unable to fill with happiness again. But if I could change the way I thought, rather than be attached to the broken cup forever, fill a new cup with new happiness, it could open the door to a new world. Still, while that world might be similar, it wouldn't be the same. My heart had weakened, and I'd been discouraged. Wasn't this only so tempting because my search of the key to go back was so difficult? Before, didn't I swear I put in any effort I need to return to my old world? If I broke that oath, Hanyo, gambling my fate, would be left behind for all eternity, all alone, and I'd be the only one so selfishly happy. While I didn't have any responsibility to make Hanyo happy, she was my ally, and partner who stuck with me for 100 years. My friend. Sorry, like, literally, just the bond with Hanyo is way better than everyone that I have in this world. I mean, like, make things better for this world, but I'm, stick to the promise, honestly. So, yeah. In a very selfish and a very blunt way for going with that. Yeah, I'm taking your words again, Mion, putting it very bluntly. So even if I wanted to give in to the temptation, I'd had to ask Hanyo, which meant, right now, I had no right to answer the proposal. Really, thank you. I'm very happy. It's alright. We'll protect you. So let's make lots of good memories before we had to leave. No, well, could you give me time to prepare my feelings? What? Shut up. What's that girl's responsible, son? It's not like Satoshi just asked you on a date or anything. Stop. Michan, that wasn't necessary. Are you just absurdly blunt in this world? My god. I understand how she feels just a little. We'll wait for you to prepare your feelings, Rika-chan. Thank you. If I do accept, then please, let this Rika Furude be one of your friends. I bowed apologetically. Here and now, that was the most I could do. Well, school's almost over, folks. Come on! Refusing their suggestion that we all go home together, I left my own. Just gotta literally just think about everything so far and just give it a good old think. Because again, it does go to the whole thing about yeah, you're the one enjoying this world, but then you're depriving yourself of your own happiness. And then if you do go back to your old world, and the Rika Furude who used to live here before comes back, they'll also be at a loss what happened. And all the bonds that you technically made with them would no longer exist anymore. And then they'd start over from square one all over again. With just her. Which, oh boy. It was Rika Fruity's right, not mine to enjoy going home with them. It wasn't something I, Frederica Berncasto, could accept. You're going with that all before. I remember, like, searching up, like, in chapter, I think it was in, like, sometime into the 7, honestly. Just, looking up to see if, like, there's an actual name. Before, the only thing I could find was, like, connected to just only Higurashi. So, like, does that technically just mean, that Rika was the one who wrote all this poetry? I mean, technically, if I got, look, I mean, if that really is the answer, and I get spoiled, like, about, like, sort of, like, then, I wouldn't exactly be surprised, actually, if that is it. Because, like, again, those lines that Rika, like, said before, like, about a frog in the well, did, like, say, like, she did say that in, like, chapter 6 as well. And, yeah, probably an entire different story if I looked it up, honestly, even sooner than that, honestly. Huh. It'd actually been almost, kind of also interesting if, like, literally, those poetry was just some, like, picked up from, like, around the world, and, like, it's not actually, a character in universe too, but and well, the only thing I saw links to was just to Higurashi, so I'm assuming just literally just Rika, or just someone in universe wise me the poetry if it's not Rika here. It wasn't something I, Frederica Berncastel, could accept. What was I anyway? I is the ninth letter of the alphabet. I wonder if another ball could fly into my head like before. Why would you want to get another concussion? That was how this world's Rika Fruity was possessed by me. To get hit again, would I vanish? The pure Rika Fruity who lives in this world return? If only it wasn't me, I wouldn't hesitate to take them up on their offer. This world truly was far sadder than the one I come from. This world is something all on its own. The opportunity to become a happy world on its own right. It'd actually be almost kind of worse, actually, if like this Rika like actually went to a variation of that world, and just how they were greedy, honestly, like, try to do the same thing there. And if no one in that group like noticed anything weird, like she just probably just do the exact same things that Rika does, and, like, take the world off for herself. Like, this is way better. I'm staying here. If like that Rika and this Rika actually talked. Okay, gosh, I think I remember there's a few stories talked about that. Like, that's also just that's another just in conflict, but I don't think they're gonna do that here. My good God. This world is something all its own. An opportunity to become a happy world in its own right. If I hadn't known about the other worlds, I wouldn't have been able to contain tears of joy, the mere premonition of happiness I once again attain. Were these conflicting emotions those of this world's Rika Frude, being inside of me? Those emotions made me angry. I blame myself, asking why I put their offer on hold and went home all alone. I'm back. Welcome home. My mother always immediately followed that up with do you have homework? But not today. Rika, come into the kitchen. Her voice is vaguely cheerful and light. I wonder what it was. Did she want to surprise me in a good way? But I can't remember today being special. A person's expectations sometimes come out in their voice. For the time being, I felt okay to go poke my head in. I set down my things and headed for the kitchen. Okay, and what's in there? When I entered, my mother had always started dinner, despite being so early. She was in good mood. I want something nice happened. You won the lottery! Every year this time, with the Once Nagashi festival approaching, she usually got more and more impatient with all the preparations set up. Knowing all that, my mother's good mood baffled and confused me. I asked if she needed something. When I did, she suggested something I'd never heard even once these 100 years. Oh, come over here and help me make dinner. We're having curry today. Let's make something wonderful and surprise your father with it. I didn't like curry that much. But before these 100 years, meaning not me, but Rika Furude, I think she might have liked it. Unless Chie like literally just burned out all the flavor, or just liking curry as much, honestly, right there, out of your system. I knew at least my mother was trying to make her daughter happy and suggesting she and Rika Furude, not I, make dinner together. I didn't like my mother that much. Yeah, I think we can already tell that. She's prone to hysterics, and I hated how she always sounded like she was hunting you down when she talked. When she treated me so nicely, my reason for disliking her felt irrational. Okay, I can kind of relate to that. Just like when someone like treated you horribly before, and then you start hearing them actually talk nicely to other people around you, then it just feels like this sort of weird kind of dissonance in your brain. Then honestly, oh good god. Wondering when my mother had a change of heart. I said to go along with it so as not hurt her feelings. I can make better curry than you. Then you can peel the potatoes. Can you do it with a knife? Actually, that's dangerous, so use the peeler instead. Okay. I was actually really good with a knife. I was so good that when I peeled daikon radishes, I could make a long strip of skin at the same time I'd slice them. Oh, I'd always love to see that. Just someone like peeling an apple, and just one continuous strand, just the skin just all coiled up. But there's no reason to damage my mother's pride by showing that her daughter could use knives better than her. I said to make her look good for now. For now, I'll wipe the floor with my cooking skills later. My mother had probably been using knives for a decade now, but I had been using them for many decades. There was an order of magnitude difference between us. I wonder, like, no, never mind, because there wasn't even a whole thing of like the question of like Rika just had a talent for cooking. Honestly, whatever time we heard anything of the mom talking about it, of like teaching her. Like, no, she immediately just started blaming just I'm supposed to be better than my own daughter. I'm supposed to be the one to teach it her and all that. So it's not even just having a knack for just learning from there. Like, oh good god. So I wanted to be proud of using a knife better than my mother. I wanted to brag about it, but that might have trampled over her feelings. Her want to teach her daughter how to use a knife. So to take things very slow. Parents are supposed to live longer than children, so children respect the things their parents have learned from having lived longer than them. But witches like me live longer than their parents and learn many more things. Still, I think I probably never learned what I really needed to do. What I really needed to. I mean, as long as I genuinely listened to my mother, she'd never get hysterical. If I didn't feel like respecting her as my senior in life, she wouldn't feel like she needed to act as one either. In the end, all that was left was a cold, uncomfortable relationship between parent and child. If I acted more like a daughter and pretended to be an ignorant child when I would need to be, maybe my relationship with her would have been more peaceful. Like this. Basically, she was Rika Furui's mother, not the mother of the witch who lived for 100 years. Thinking about it made it seem obvious that she'd be cold to me. Okay, so first, you put the ones in the pot that take the longest to cook. Okay. When do we put in the onions? The onions won't melt if you cook them too long, so we can leave them for last. You work so hard on cutting the onions too. I'm sure they'll taste delicious. Okay. Mother smiled. She seemed very happy. Smile was warm. I thought I completely forgotten over these 100 years. I remembered, for less than a moment in time. My parents had to die in 1981. That fate was unchangeable. Besides, we could never get along in the first place. It didn't matter if they died. As thoughts like those overlapped, maybe my concern with my parents had waned. Our hearts had suddenly lost their connection. The station had subtly worsened. Before now, I hadn't thought I could gain anything from this world. Not once did I think it would make me realize something like that. With a mother like this, maybe spending time with her would be warm. It would be fun. That's right. The reason I rejected my mother's warmth, maybe it was because I wanted to soften the sadness I felt at her death. If I couldn't change the fate she met in 1981, then she might as well hate me. Was that the idea at the root of it all? In this world, my mother hadn't died in 1981. She would stay here for a long time to come. I felt just a little jealous of Rika Furade, and I was stricken with a desire to return this world's me to her. This world was so different than my previous one. Keiichi wasn't here, Shion wasn't here, Hanya wasn't here. But in exchange, Satoshi and my parents were here. There was no club, yet, but there would be one soon. Sadako was my best friend, but she could be in the future. I could weigh my previous world and this one on the scales, but I wouldn't know which way it would tip. I decided to leave this decision to Hanyo. Yes, my destiny wasn't mine alone. It was Hanyo's destiny too. Whichever I chose, I would have to talk to Hanyo before making my final decision. This multiple world concept was something I only had because Hanyo had lent me her power. If Hanyo never given to me, it would have been over from the very start. Takano would have sliced open my belly, and that would have been it. You don't even really know why. You just only have a vague notion of why it all happened. Oh boy. We put the lid in the curry, so now just to the simmer. My father returned in the meantime, and really enjoyed seeing us making curry together. At my mother's suggestion, he set the table. In any normal 1981, he really hated it when my mother told him to do anything. But he wasn't troubled at all at the prospect in this world. Okay, Rika, put the rice in everyone's plates, please. Can you do that? Yep. I can. Of course I can do that, idiot. I was already thinking that. I'm sarcastic to a T. Something I thought many times before, but this time, I didn't. I opened the warm, steaming rice cooker and played the rice. My mother brought the piping hot curry pot over and split it among everyone's plates. Oh, nice. So Mom made curry for the rice Rika served, huh? Looks delicious. He's wrong, isn't he? Doesn't even know we made the curry together. Isn't he such a rude father? Meep, Hoshi. I peeled myself back. Furude Rika shouted that I wasn't needed, so I pulled back. I withdrew inside Rika Furude, and she got to enjoy family dinner from the bottom of her heart. When we saw the crooked potatoes, we all laughed pleasantly. I would never cut potatoes to be so ugly, but Rika Furude was still bad at this, so these things happened. When I used the same ingredients, the only thing curry tasted like was the curry powder from the store. After 100 years of the same curry powder, it tasted the same, no matter how you made it, but this particular curry tasted different. It was made differently. I cried at what Rika Furude had lost. No, at what I had lost. Rika Furude got to experience the warmth she had once forgotten. I wonder if another ball would come flying and hit me in the head, right through the window. Please don't. Then I would pass out for a while. And upon waking again, I would be gone. Wasn't that the best possible ending? At least for people in this world, I guess, in a sense. I was the stranger here. I thought this universe was the strange one from out of all the other parallel universes, but it was me. I was a stranger. Yeah, you're the one who has no ties to this place, honestly. It's not like the other worlds where you grew up honestly into it from the beginning, or you were like an outsider who was going here making a new, new name for yourself and anything like that. Symbolizing just Shion coming back from that school, honestly, and Keiichi just, transferring over here, and even Reina, transferring back home after, the divorce and all that. It's kind of the same thing like that. Then, what had the world been? The one I'd reached after 100 years. Was its happiness that we'd all won? Keiichi, Rena, Mion, Sadako, Shion, and I? Was it all worth nothing? No, it wasn't. It was not nothing. That wasn't true. It was a radiant world. One we all won the right to live in after 100 years of learning to distrust in each other. It was replete with a different kind of happiness than this one. But shone brightly. Neither was better or worse than the other. Maybe, in the end, most worlds weren't better or worse than the other. I only lived in extreme worlds, the ones where I struggled to see whether Takano killed me or not. Out of all the infinite universes, I sort of think of them as either right or wrong. I mean, it's the only things you have experienced, so it makes sense you would have a tiny bit of prejudice against others. But the multiverse wasn't simple enough to think of it in binaries like that. Tomorrow's dinner might be steak or salted sorry. It wasn't about which was right and which was wrong. In both those worlds, I'd spend a happy time eating dinner with family. What if my respective selves had been reversed during tonight's dinner? But that was an incredibly tasteless thing to ask. The real problem wasn't that big to begin with. Neither my last world, nor this world, was better than the other. I needed to accept that. I still didn't know where the fragment I needed to return to my world was. But what if I never knew? The power of the crystal ball connected me to Hanya disappeared. I would disappear the stranger I was, and give this body back to Rika Furude. From her point of view, she would have to say that I returned to my old world. The OG world, basically. Just as I once called this world a daydream, for Rika Furude, my old world was the real daydream. Her strange delusions of me would simply disappear along with it. And it'll just be another dream, honestly, or just another memory till it fades away. Maybe it didn't really matter how to return to my original world. Which world would I decide was the original? Maybe that was really all this was about. Probably just the ones you think you're the most ties to, honestly. Yeah, honestly. It all just comes back to that same idea, honestly. Just, like, what's the... I've seen other games that do the whole thing, like, bring up, like multiple endings, stuff like that. And, like, I always want to see a game where, there's no concrete, I guess, happy ending. Like, there's no one where, everything turns out right in the end. Like, there's just different degrees of things, like, happening good, and, like, some things happening bad to something else. Like, it's not a whole thing just like how a lot of stories do, like, try to make a big cathartic end, but, like, for everything to tie up in the end. I'm just now sitting here wondering, like, yeah, I'd like to see a game that tries to tackle that, where even, like, for, like, the first ending you get, where there's, like, a very plot focus, a character focus, even ended early on, it would still have just as much important as even the finale that ties everything together. At least close things out on a thematic or, like, special note, honestly. Like, just not one is meant to be projected as the very best one, because even like there's some stories where even in my top of my head, I actually like these other endings which are completely glossed over, which people tend to like skip over and just go to the final one. Like, what was that? If I to give one example for one, like there was one in AI the Sounding Files where an ending there where, like, I kind of enjoyed one of them where I guess like Date and Mizuki grew closer, instead of everyone coming out alive in the end. Well, I guess that's another, like, a bad way to put it. I can't remember if people died, or like anything bad happened in that route. But like honestly, just that prospect alone, like that was, I just really enjoyed that ending, honestly, a lot. And again, there was like even some drawbacks, and even that final, I guess, ending for in the Sounding Files as well. Some things didn't happen to be perfectly, good, honestly. But it also, like, it seems like it's meant to be showcased. It has all the best qualities, honestly, to have, so long for that world, honestly. But yeah, I'll have to see, like, a story, like, tackle that in any sense, or just have a multiverse story like this one that, like, tackles this exact same theme. So yeah. After we finished eating, we cleaned up our places and started washing things. My father said he had a meeting tonight, and he's to leave again. Time to break right into the spiritual storehouse again to parse through even more documents. Rika, could you wash these for me? I have something to talk with your dad about, so please do the rest. Okay. I responded cheerfully as Rika Furude, but I had really something slightly out of place. If she had something to talk about my father about, there were plenty of chances during dinner, but she made me wash the dishes so they could talk amongst themselves. They're talking behind your back. Rika just had to stay put and wash the dishes. But I couldn't suppress the curiosity I was welling up. I still snuck over to the front door to listen in on what my parents were saying. Like, wait, are you saying, like, Rika Furude, like, is actually doing the washing while you astral project yourself to see what they're listening to? Okay, then, you have unlocked a new superpower. My mother was the one talking. Her tone of voice was a cheery one. Okay, maybe the doctor has actually called them. I was wondering that was the first thought I had before, honestly. Oh. Yep. Yamamoto-sensei is discussing it with a big hospital in the city. From what he said, it might be your heart more than her brain. Apparently it's a wonderful doctor there who can help. I knew it. I knew I shouldn't have asked. Yamamoto certainly hadn't promised to keep her discussion in the nurse's office to himself. Yep! It all just comes down to this anyway. Since I left, he probably called my parents and told them their daughter was ranting about nonsense. And depending on how Satoshi and then Reina and Mia actually took the sun spell, honestly. They're literally just doing this to keep the peace, which oh boy. Which honestly is kind of reflecting again of like Onikakushi, honestly, of people like trying their best, but they don't want to talk about certain things to people's faces, honestly. Oh good god. Oh good god. He probably explained it as my isolation at school wearing down on my mind and damaging my heart. Considering what I told him, even that would be conscientious interpretation. Did you talk to Rika about it? I will after this. I mean, it feels like we're tricking her. And that tomorrow, the doctor will be here and we'll suddenly be out to the hospital. But you know, when I think about how she feels, I can understand. Her friends got up and moved away, leaving her all alone. I should have tried to understand her feelings. Rika's always been saying she didn't want to move. We didn't want her to deal with that, and we made her repress it. When is Yamamoto-sensei coming tomorrow? He said the evening, but he didn't give me the exact time. He said he'd prefer it if you were there too. I'd be in the assembly hall tomorrow, so when he gets here, give me a call. Alright. Don't be discouraged. I understand why she's saying she wants to go back to her original world, but there's nothing we can do anymore. This is a fight between the village and the national government. I at least want to give her some fun things to look back on when she remembers living in Hinamizawa. You're right. It's time. Let's get going. I'll leave Rika to you. The fact you paused there, honestly. The fact you paused there. Ugh, god damn it. Alright. Come back safely. Like, I can honestly feel some more sympathy for the mom, honestly, but the fact you hesitated from that single line just to make it sound like you're being afraid of your own daughter having these sort of feelings, honestly. Oh my good god. I feel immediate kind of, I don't know how to put it. My first thought is just, I don't know a word to say it, but let's go with the word revulsion right now, because I can't think of a better one right now. I slept back in the kitchen the same as I come. I think the floorboards must have creaked. Now when I returned to the kitchen, she still didn't sound particularly cheerful. Were you listening, Rika? Yamamoto-sensei called us today. He told us what you talked to him about. Meep. Yamamoto's really mean for talking about it without asking me. Yeah. Oh good god, if it was like something like, even like... Oh good god, it goes to that whole thing again of him, imagine like you're like a kid like brings up stuff about like what's happening at home, or like is implying stuff that happened at home, and like the doctor misinterpreted it, and then called the parents then, and then explained the issue to the people causing the issue. Like, oh my good god, I know he means well, but oh my good god. Holy shit. Oh my god. Rika, I'm sorry. You want to live in this village forever, didn't you? We never thought about your feelings, and I think we said a lot of pretty harsh things to you. That's okay. It doesn't really bother me now. My mother's apology was meant to be heard by the Rika Furude living in this world. It wasn't for me to accept, so I denied it. My mother kept apologizing anyway. I was going to deny it again, but I stopped. You're kind of the representation for the representative to of this Rika. If like what you're saying is she like that Rika is gone. Honestly, It's not a whole thing of going back and forth until she's possessing your her own original body back then, I guess, or not. It wasn't my turn. I should pull back. And then I thought I felt myself begin to fade out. As I did, I felt my eyes grow warm. The rest was, for me, a misty, hazy world. I cried as I buried my face in Mother's chest. My mother cried as well as she hugged me. If I could have disappeared like that, this too might have been Rika Furute's life. After that, my mother told a lot of stories of Hinamizawa, as it reminisced about her own childhood, about what she was like as a kid, what she did, and where. About things happening, or not happening. As she talked, we comforted each other, both of us wanting our beloved village to stay in our hearts forever. And when your mom was little, all the elderly people in the village treated me like I was really important. That's because they believed I was the reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama. Oyashiro-sama's reincarnation? Okay, so the world is different because of that. Your mom had was a firstborn then. I briefly thought about that for a bit. I like how the music cut out immediately for that. That just this then Frederica Berncastel just snapped her fingers. That's why this world was so weird. It is because your ancestor. We have to go back in time and change my genes. Oh my god. Never told you, have I? There's no legend in the Furute family. If there are eight first children in a row who are girls, the 8th girl is said to be the reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama. That girl happened to be me. Not me? So I do have to kill you. Like a god. You're a first child, and a girl, but you'll be the 9th one. We have a maternal line, I suppose. Your mom is the 8th. Oyashiro-sama's reincarnation. But this is secret, okay? We have to make sure not to tell anyone about it. The ones who know are your late grandmother, me, and you. How does no one in the village know about this? It's a secret between the two of us, okay? Sometimes, as proof of trust between girls, we reveal secrets to one another. For Mother, this is probably a trivial secret that she could use for that reason. But for me, it was different. It's world-shattering! Hanya was first able to appear before the 8th of 8 consecutive generations of girls, before Oyashiro-sama's reincarnation. In this world, Rika Furute wasn't the 8th. She wasn't Oyashiro-sama's reincarnation. You start harping on a mama, just saying, do you happen to know this girl named Hanyo, Mom? So, in this world, Hanya couldn't appear before Rika Furute then. And that was when my face buried my mother's chest. I felt a warmth. No, a literal heat. Did she have a fever? No. This felt the same as Hanyo's power. Oh no. Oh good god. Hopefully it's instead just connecting with your mom instead of anything else, actually. Let's hope it's that, okay? Because from the sound of it, well, besides the whole, I guess, same personality stuff, she grew up way differently than, raising you, honestly. Well, this was a secret. My grandmother dead. There was only one who knew my mother was Oyashiro-sama's reincarnation. Woman herself. Which meant my mother was gone. The fragment of there already being a reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama in this world would disappear. My warm tears ceased to flow. As I felt my eyes drying up as I plummeted to the bottom of the abyss of despair. It was her. My mom and the fragment in her. If I could have... I would have chosen never to remember what the fate entailed. Holy shit. Okay, this is gonna be tough then. Oh, good god.